Thank you for tuning in to the I'm Not Emotional podcast. My name is Javier, and a lot of stuff we discuss on this podcast may not be suitable for young viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey, how's it going? This is Javier. Today is January 28th, 2022. I got a pretty special guest today. I got a fellow that I met not too long ago, and we kind of hit it off. Apparently, we've met some years ago. We did stand-up together, and I feel like since I got to talking to this guy, we kind of hit it off. He's a cool cat. We did some trivia the other night, man. We did some spontaneous tribulations, and we got second place. We missed by 1 point. Rich Truitt, man, thanks for coming on, dude.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely.
I've been kind of looking forward to this since we talked about it.
For sure. Since Friday, man. I've actually been thinking about it a lot. I told my roommate and shit. I was like, hey, dude.
Yeah, man.
I'm cool with it.
You get the little mic closer to your face.
Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe I just lean forward. Oh, there we go. That does sound a lot better.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, you're good. So, yeah. So you kind of digging the podcast, huh?
I dig it. Yeah. I mean, it's super cool. You know, like, as I was telling you, I fall asleep to ASMR videos, man. And just having a podcast, even when it's just really mellow, chill, people talking, is still, I don't know, somewhat soothing to me, you know, like, and the videos that I've watched or, you know, listened to, they've been great. I've enjoyed them quite a bit.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
it has a lot to do with having good guests.
That's probably correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember you telling me, you know, you like to interview interesting people. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty dope. You know,
Yeah, man.
I'm into it.
Yeah, after talking to you for a couple minutes, I was like, I gotta have this guy on. Yeah, man. I'm glad you're able to come on today, dude. This is kind of gonna be an interesting experience. I hope, and if not, fuck it. You know, who cares?
No, I've been excited about it all day. In fact,
Yeah.
I woke up this morning and I had to get a bunch of stuff done. I got to go to DMV. I'm gonna get the real ID. Me and my roommate we're planning a trip to Edmonton. And,
yeah.
We want to go watch the Oilers.
That's cool.
It's on his birthday, and he doesn't want to tell his girlfriend that it's on his birthday because she'll flip the fuck. She's gonna lose her mind. But I had a lot of stuff to do at the DMV, so I still didn't get it all done. But I'll go back after we're done here.
Dude, I can get you to wear your beanie in your picture. I wear my cowboy hat in my real ID picture.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the trick is you have to wear it the entire time you're in there, and then when you get up there, and then they go, "Hey, can you take off your beanie?" And you go, "Sorry, I can't. It's for religious purposes." And then they have you fill out a form, which is you just put your name or whatever and say that you filled out this form. And then you wear your beanie. I wear my cowboy hat in my fucking
that would
real
be
ID.
the shit, dude.
Yeah, dude. You gonna go to an Oilers game, dog?
Oh, yeah. That'd be the shit, having a fucking real ID with a Condors beanie on.
Yeah, you just gotta have confidence. You gotta walk in and be like, "No, this is my religion.
Yeah.
I am Oilers through and through."
In the military, you can get dog tags that say Jedi, you know, for your religion.
Uh-huh.
And it can say, like, Jedi or, like, Rebel Alliance or some
Really?
shit. Yeah, dude, it's something funky. It might just be Jedi. But yeah, if you can do that and you can wear your, you know, like your Jedi garb, you could probably pull that off.
Yeah, dude, just have your lightsaber and your fucking...
That shit's funny as fuck.
your
That would be great.
So you were in the military.
I was, yeah.
How long were you in the military?
8 years total.
8 years.
Yeah, I wanted to make a career out of it, man. I wanted to do a full 20, but I had some circumstances in life that did not want that. I had an ex-wife.
Oh, okay.
She was my wife then, but she didn't really like the idea of the military lifestyle after. So I met her kind of in the middle of my career. I joined in 2003. I met her in 2007, which was right in the middle. And I re-enlisted. And then we started talking. I got a little bit more serious. And we weren't quite married yet, but we had the plans to get married. She just didn't want to continue the military lifestyle after I got deployed.
Right.
And like when she was a part of my life and saw how deployment was going to be on her, it didn't really. She didn't. That didn't really pan out.
What was that like?
Tough. The deployment or the being married while deployed?
Both.
Both were tough. The married thing.
I'm sure one thing didn't help the other.
Right. Well, being deployed is kind of what I signed up to do, and I'd already done it once. I was a single Marine then. I had no issues with it. Of course, I missed my family, all that stuff, but this was my job. That's what I was there to do. The second time around, it was a little different, only because I was here. I was stateside when I deployed, so I was really close to my family. I still got to see them almost, every weekend if I wanted to. But being, having basically a family, she had 3 kids from a prior marriage, basically being involved with them, it was tough because she did, I didn't know what it was going to be like. Like, I didn't know what it was going to be like to actually not be able to come home to a wife and kids, like I didn't know what it was going to be like to them. So their stress on it was more stressed on me on it. My second deployment really kind of sucked. Like, it was the worst of the two for sure.
Right.
And I was scared. My first one, I was scared shitless, The second time I was still scared, but I knew it wasn't that big of a deal. It was just the missing and the longing, like it sucked.
The homesickness.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a rough feeling.
It was crazy. I did 4 years. Well, I did 3 years in Okinawa. You sign up, you do your boot camp and your schooling, and then you do a couple other things, and it takes about a year. So you get to your first duty station about 10 months into your first year of the military.
I had a cousin who went to Okinawa.
Yeah, and I went straight to Okinawa. I was there for 3 years. I went there for a 2-year unaccompanied, extended for a year, stayed. I had a great time. I deployed from there, and it wasn't so bad because I knew I was going to miss my family. I was across the Pacific Ocean. There was no way I was going to see them if I wanted to drive to their house on the weekend.
Right.
Like I couldn't do that.
Barely talk to them on the phone.
Yeah, barely, and that was like once a week. I'd have to stay up really, really late at night and then call them because it would be like 1 p.m. Or I'd have to call them at like my 1 p.m. It'd be really late at night for them. So we kind of made it work. But I didn't, it wasn't so bad. I was deployed. I was already across the sea. I was missing my family, but it was like, hey man, I'm young. I was 21, 22 years old. This is a new adventure. Excuse me. None of my family had ever been to Japan at all. Like no one had ever been across the Pacific. Yeah. Like how dope is that going to be?
And how old are you?
I was 21 at the time.
You're 21. You're like, the world's your oyster now. I bet that's a great feeling. You're just like, wow, like. I'm doing shit that I want to do.
It was pretty wild. I don't know that I'd ever really desired to go to Japan, but once it was an option, it was like, oh man, you have you have an option once you graduate like your MOS school, depending on how high you do in class. Like say if you were the third person, you ranked third highest in the class, you're going to get to choose your duty station. I ranked 7th. So they were like, hey, you can go to Hawaii or Okinawa, or you can just stay stateside. And I'm thinking, fuck, Japan? Send me there, like 2 years. I'm not married. I don't care. This is what I signed up to do, Yeah.
What's the difference between Hawaii and Okinawa, dude?
Not much.
Hawaiian women are not that great looking.
Well, yeah, Japanese women are all right, I guess. Yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer for me, man. Just Japan seems so, I don't know, it just seemed something new. It was kind of what I signed up for. I wanted to fight a war. There was actually other reasons that I did sign up. Like, I honestly thought I would sign up, go to war, and die. I kind of wanted to be that guy. But that was just because of the shit I was going through in my own head, at the time. But it was a world of adventure, like you said, man. Like, I got to go to Thailand and shit from Japan. Like, I've been so many places I would have never, ever gone. And it's due to the military. I really like that. I regret getting out. In fact, I put my shoes on. I'm like, fuck. These should be boots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. So you kick yourself a little bit for not re-enlisting?
For the reasons that I got out, yes. But only that. Like my life hasn't been terrible after I got out. It hasn't been the same by any means. But it hasn't been terrible. I've met some really great people. I've gotten an education. I've done fairly well for myself. I'm not driving a Lexus by any means, but I'm not upset that I'm driving that Ford. Right. It's really not that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peace of mind is something that's like, it's achieved not by the stuff you possess, but like by the journey you've kind of trekked,
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool, man. So, what did you do in your second tour? It was here in the States?
Yeah. So after my third year was up in Okinawa, it was like right around May of 2007. I had the option to stay, like they afforded me the option to stay there, but I kind of wanted a different thing. I was in an artillery unit, and I wasn't actually attached to an artillery unit. I was more or less, excuse me, I was more or less like a part of the headquarters unit, where we traveled with an artillery unit. And I really didn't want that. I wanted to be part of that artillery unit. I didn't want to have to answer to another, a unit here, as well as this unit be my home unit. When they deployed, I wanted to be deployed with them. And that wasn't always the case. Right. So I came stateside. I was like, there's opportunities there. I'll find an artillery unit or an Anglico unit, which was even better. It's basically my job, which was a scout observer. I watched artillery rounds. I just sat there with binoculars and spotted artillery rounds.
That's cool.
It's cool. Like, it's great. Excuse me. But there, like I said, being not attached to an actual artillery unit, you didn't get to deploy with them. You didn't go on all of their movements. And that kind of sucked. But they have these Anglico units. It's air naval gunfire liaison companies. And they're basically like radio operator and scout observer recon. I mean, you attach yourselves to artillery units or naval gunfire units or any other unit that needs your support, and you're attached with that unit,
That's
so
cool.
Oh, dude, super dope. And that's what I liked. So I moved. I came to Camp Pendleton. I went to the first Anglico.
And you were married at this point, or you got married in between?
I actually hadn't been married yet. We were going to get married in 2011. And that was going to be basically my last year. We were just engaged at that point. We weren't married, but for all intents and purposes, we were.
How long were you guys together at that point?
Year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, and by the end of that year, before I got deployed, we were already living together. Her kids were already living with us. Sorry.
No, you're good.
But yeah, that's that wasn't so bad. We were able to get a house right off base. It wasn't terrible.
At that time.
Yeah, right. At that time, it wasn't that bad. But then I did get deployed. I attached to a different unit, and we got deployed, and it was a wreck for her. I mean, I made a lot of money. I made sure that the kids and her were supported. Everything was paid for, all that stuff. But just not being there. Like, her ex-husband, he was locked up when we met. He did a lot of terrible shit, I guess. Got himself locked up even before her last was born. So he'd never really seen her outside of incarceration, So she didn't want that. She didn't want to be alone with her family, and it just be the same thing over and over. So I kind of understand where she was at with it, but I don't know.
Still heartbreaking.
Yeah, a little bit.
How are you dealing with that now?
I deal with it a lot better than I did 2 years ago. It was kind of a big reckoning. In like 2018, when I quit drinking, that was kind of when I realized, like, I have to be over this, it fucking has to be done, and that's about when it took. Like, I still think about her. I still wonder how the kids are doing. I know one of them's graduated high school now. Like, I hope so. Anyway, I just hope that they're all doing really well. I believe she's married again. I hope that's excellent.
Right.
Like, I got nothing bad to say about her. Just, she didn't want to be my wife.
That sucks, man.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be my wife either. Truthfully.
Yeah. I hear you, man. So how long you got sober now?
It'll be 4 years in May.
Wow.
Yeah, May 24th.
And it was just drinking?
Just drinking. Yeah, I mean, I still smoke weed.
Yeah, right on.
For sure.
Smoke weed.
Right. But yeah, no, drinking was my big deal. I used it as a crutch for a long time. Like, I started drinking when I was in high school, and that was it. Alcoholism runs in my family. Like, my sister right now could outdrink both of us.
Yeah.
For sure. It's pretty impressive, in fact. If she listens to this, she's going to kill me. Actually, she's probably drinking a fucking White Claw right now if she's not at work.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, I don't blame her, dude. She's got 2 fucking kids. Her kids are great, man. But, yeah, drinking was like my crutch. I used it for... basically used it for everything. And that's why I stopped. Like, I was tired of being the crutch, for basically not living life. I was tired of not taking accountability for my own shit and just being like, if I drink and get fucked up, I don't have to worry about it.
How do you feel about, like, when you look back on that? Is is it like joy? You're glad you're here now, or is it like a little bit of, I don't know, like pain knowing that you were there, you used to be there?
I think that I think I take a little bit of both from that. I'm like when I look back at it, I'm way happier here. Like where I'm at now, it's incredible to me. In fact, that I'm actually even here. Like there was a point in time when I just didn't think it was going to happen. But when I do look back at it, and when I see people that I love doing the same shit that I was doing, and I can't be the guy to be like, hey, you should really stop that, but I am. You know what I mean? Like I am the guy that should do that because I've been there. I know what it's like to put my vehicle into a tree. I know what it's like to hurt people. Like I know what it's like. I've been there, done that. So when I look back at it, I really do take some pain from it because it's one of those like, damn, dude, I was a shitty human being. Really was a shitty human being. And it was alcohol that did it. Like I can't say it was alcohol that did it, but my alcoholism did it, so I had to get rid of that. It was tough. It still is tough. Yeah. I mean, going to Tembler is one of those like, oh, I know they have good beer, like that was the catalyst. Actually, it's funny because the catalyst to my non-drinking happened at that place.
Really?
Yeah, at Tembler. We were there for a comedy open mic and I was signed up. Everything was good. I just was there a couple hours early, got fucked. I mean, I was wasted and was going to go up on stage and Chris was like, hey, you're not going to do that. What? He's like, you're way too drunk, dude. You're going to fall off that stage. Like, you're drunk. You can't go up there. I'm sorry. I can't let you do it. And I was pissed. Like, I wanted to throw a fit, but I didn't want to ruin it for everyone else. I was drunk. I was an asshole. So I grabbed some beers, went home, and that night, like, drank them, looked at all the crumpled up dollar bills in my pocket, and was like, what the fuck am I doing, dude? Like, what are you doing? You're going to be 40 in 3 years. You're going to be 40 years old. Like, is this what you want?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
And the crumpled up dollar bills, man, that's heavy.
It is.
That's
like,
heavy.
You go to the bar. Dude, I would get off work. I worked at fucking, what is this, like 2014. I worked at Macaroni Grill. Mm-hmm. And we'd close that restaurant down. Dude, I'd make a shit ton of money. But we'd close that restaurant down. Me and the guy I live with now, in fact. We would close that restaurant down. Like, we would fucking... everything be good, and then all of us servers would be like, hey, we're gonna go to fucking VIP, or hey, we're gonna go to Stella's, or hey, we're gonna go this place, let's go. Fuck yeah, dude. I'd make $150 that night, wake up in the morning with like 2-3 crumpled up $1 bills. Fuck. Yeah, stained ass fingers because I smoked cigarettes all night. Like,
your throat's sore because you smoked a pack of smokes.
Oh yeah, dude, easily too. Like I would prepare. I'd go to the store after we left work and get 2 packs of cigarettes so I wouldn't run out. Like, and industrious I was, but
that's harsh. I remember I had a drinking buddy and we worked at Bolt House and we were forklift drivers. And on Friday nights we got off at 12:30. We would rush to the liquor store and buy a 30-pack, a handle, and then like 3 packs of smokes. Yep. And then we'd go get some cocaine. Yep. And then smoke some weed. And we'd be at it, just me and him. And his parents are out of town for whatever reason. And I look back on those kind of gay. Just 2 dudes getting fucking ripped. Getting fucking ripped. And we'd get ripped from Friday night all the way up till on the way to work on Monday. Yeah. And I had just got paid $500, dude, for working 50 hours. And I had $6 to my name on fucking Monday. Dude.
Been there. And then you still got to get gas for the week.
Yeah, and you still got to go to work, and you still got to watch everybody eat lunch when you're fucking starving, dude, because you haven't bought groceries in fucking forever, dude.
Yeah, been there, man. That's exactly how. I mean, I still kind of live that way, I guess, but without the drinking, it's
definitely easier to save money when you're not drinking.
Oh, dude, it really is. You know, like I look back at it, and I wasn't even able to pay rent. You know, at the place I was staying, like the person I was living with was fucking, I mean, I owe her a lot of gratitude. You know, I owe her a lot. In fact, I wouldn't have been sleeping in my car, you know, but I used her and it sucks. Like I've talked to her about it since, you know, of course, but I used her and that's one of the ways I feel really awful. It's just the kind of person that I was not who I want to be. You know what I mean? Like I was a shitty person, you know,
it's
like
a vicious cycle too. Cause you like do fucked up shit cause you're drinking. And then you feel bad, and then you drink more because you feel like shit. Yep. And then you do more fucked up shit, and then you get sober and you feel like an piece of shit. And it's just like this constant thing that just never stops. Man.
Yeah, and that's really where I'm at right now with the drinking is it took a while for me to get there to where I was actually okay, you know, to where I can actually address it. I can be completely honest about it, you know, like I at times there was time I'd be like, no man, it's not that big of a deal, like I'm good, when I really knew that it was destroying my life, you know, like I put my vehicle into a tree, like I fucking totaled my beautiful truck, you know, like totaled it, busted my wrist all up. I'm glad that no one else was hurt. So it was one of those, like I had to really look back at that and be like, look at what you did, you know, like look at what you can't fucking do this anymore. This isn't the person that you want to be, you know, like stop. And it was hard to have that realization. Whereas now I'm like, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with telling people, hey, look, this is what my truck looks like. You know, like, look at what I did. You're going to do that. Like my roommate's girlfriend, man, she's terrible about it. Like I fucking hate it. I've told her a million times, if you need a ride, let me know. I don't drink. I'll come get you right now. And she'll drive to our house. She'll show up at like 3 a.m, just wasted. Like, fuck, dude. One of these days she's going to end up like that. You know, like I'm really fearful that she's going to put her car into a wall or another car or another person or, you know, anything. I don't want her to get hurt. I don't want her kids to get hurt. You know, like, yeah, it's terrible.
And every time I hear a story of somebody hurting somebody else and they're drinking, dog, it's usually life ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and yeah. And even if like the legal consequences behind it don't get you, it's like, dude, think about it.
The guilt will, dude.
Yeah. Like, think about what just happened. Even if it was your own life, think about you drinking and driving and then killing your own family.
Dude, and the drivers are always on the fucking live.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because they're drunk and they're just like, well, you know,
there's always extra safety things for the driver.
Yeah.
Because percentage-wise, there's always a driver. There's hardly ever compared to passenger and backseat driver. So it's just, dude, it's rough, man.
Yeah, agreed.
That's rough. I remember my dad just... a little bit on the subject. My dad told me this story about when he was in high school. He went to McFarland, and '86, I think it was like a year after he graduated. There was 2 guys in trucks full of kids, and they were playing chicken on a dirt road, and they're going 60 miles an hour, just playing chicken, and they head on, all of them. I think it was like 12 kids.
Well, yeah, that's dumb.
And they were drunk and they're drinking. My dad said he was at that party that they were at, and he goes, that guy that was driving was one of those guys where he wouldn't drink beer, he would drink liquor.
Oh man. And
so what he had is he had a little bottle of like whatever's Captain Morgan, and he would drink it and then put it back in his coat and then pull it out and drink it. He was just getting fucking ripped, and he was the guy that was driving.
Yeah, and he lived.
No, they all died.
Well, I can't say like good karma, but that sucks. I mean, anyone dying in an accident like that sucks, man. That sucks.
Yeah, dude. Alcoholism, it's weird, man, because I've quit drinking September. I got about 4 months sober.
Fucking A, man, that's great.
And it's rough, dude. Like I went to rehab when I was 16 for coke and pills and opioids, and that was like, it's easy to avoid opioids.
Sure,
if you take yourself away from your friends and you stop hanging out the same circle.
Absolutely.
And you just don't have it. When you go to the doctor's office for pain, you just say, hey, don't prescribe me opioids, and they're like, all right, cool.
Yeah,
totally fine. But the alcohol, dude, it's like, it's so hard to fucking avoid.
Yeah, and I don't know what that is, you know, like I don't know what that is. At a young age, I mean, I've done a lot of drugs, you know, like I've done a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
And there was a point when I was, you know, even strung out of meth when I was like 18, 19 years old. I did a lot of methamphetamines. So and like you said, it was really kind of easy to get out of that. I moved.
If you wanted to.
I got out of here. Like I moved out of Bakersfield, moved to Washington State, and just said, fuck that life. I need to, you know, uproot myself somewhere else. But yeah, alcohol, I don't know why it's the hardest one. Maybe because it's so readily available. I mean, it's legal. You know what I mean? Like alcohol is a legal drug. It really is. So it's, I don't know. It's really hard to say why it's so hard to get rid of, but it is.
I think it's 2 reasons. I think it's because it's when you drink for so long, it becomes part of your personality.
Sure.
And it's part of your personality in terms of it's how you connect with other people. Like you're at a party, you see in movies, red cup. Like it's just, it's
that makes
hard.
sense.
And it's also at the same time, everywhere you go, there's an ice chest full of beer.
Yep.
Whether you're camping or at a bar or a picnic or going to your nephew's baseball game or something, dude.
Everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere.
Alcohol's fucking everywhere.
Everywhere.
And people expect you to drink.
Yeah, and I think that's absolutely a big part of it, because there was time, like even now, if I go to, I really don't go to bars. It's been, I don't think I've been to a bar since the Dodgers won the World Series, 2020 champs. Yeah, we went to the Sand Trap that night and had a celebratory beer. My buddy was there and he was like, "Hey man, I got you a Heine Zero." Oh cool, let's do that. But I noticed, like, when I stopped drinking and I really wanted to hang out with my friends and they were all at the bar, I would go and get like a soda water with, I would make it look as if I had an alcoholic drink. If they were going to make me a soda, I wanted to put them in like a Collins glass, something that made it look like I was having a mixed drink, just so people around me still thought, oh, this guy's still having a good time. He's just not drinking beer. You know what I mean? Like, I think the social aspect of drinking is definitely a big one. I think that's a big one for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. I think that could be a reason for a lot of people to keep drinking, is because people just expect it. Like, hey man, I'm gonna come to your house. I'm bringing a sixer. You want one?
Yeah.
Yeah, but no.
And also, like, I have got company over sometimes. I have friends over and we like hang out and play whatever. And we used to drink. Like, that's what we did. Like, we would show up with bottles, and it was like 6 of us, my buddies and their wives, and then me, and then we just like fucking put them back, dude. Just get fucking ripped.
Absolutely.
And now it's just like we get together and we're like, oh, how's work? Oh, it was fine, this and that, blah blah blah. And you're like, man, dude, where's the passion that these hangouts used to have? These used to be my compas, but now that I chose to stop drinking, they're like, they don't want to drink around me. Yeah, they're being supportive friends, but it's just like, it's also that it's like people can also be a little comfortable around you because you don't drink. Agreed.
Yeah, that was a big deal for me. I think was a lot of my friends, a lot of them, and this includes my best friend. He's like my brother. I don't really call him my best friend. He's my brother, But this guy, for the first week or so, 2 weeks, maybe up to a month, he was asking me, "Dude, you're just gonna do it for a little bit, right? Like, oh, we're gonna." And it's like, no, dude, I'm gonna not do it today, and then hopefully tomorrow when I wake up, I won't do it tomorrow. And then the day after that, I don't do it that day either. That's just kind of how I played it. But now it's a big thing for him too, but I felt like him and even my other buddies, they were just like, hey man, we don't really want to like invite you because we don't want to drink around you. It's like, well,
right. We want to be supportive at the same time.
Yeah.
We don't want to influence you, but also, we don't want you to judge us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. Like, they don't want you to feel like judgy towards them, which of course I don't, honestly, I'm only judging you because you're at the bar spending $45 when you could be spending 16 on an 18 pack.
Yeah. Right.
You guys are spending way too much money, but we have a bad, that's it. But no, yeah, I think that was an issue, because my friends were just like, man, it kind of makes me uncomfortable that you're not drinking. Like, it doesn't seem like you're having a good time. And it's like, well, right. I mean, I'm having a great time. And now that they have fucking non-alcoholic beers that are good, I'm great,
Those Heineken Zeros, bro.
Oh, they're bomb.
They're
super good.
Saved, dude.
Super good. Because O'Doul sucks.
O'Doul sucks ass, man. It tastes like plastic soda water.
You got to do a michelada with the O'Douls, man, or it's just unpalatable. It's terrible.
At that point, you're just drinking tomato juice in.
Yep. Yeah, right.
Dude, yeah, those Heineken Zeros, man,
they're good.
It's like a tofu, but it's like if you're at a party, it's nice to drink a Heineken Zero,
and it tastes.
Throw it in the trash. Just the act of going and grabbing another beer out of the fridge, cracking that one open. That shit's fun, man.
Yeah, and I agree, and it is, it's a lot like smoking cigarettes. You just kind of like the action of putting the cigarette to your mouth, just the action of it, and I think that works with alcohol too. It is really nice. I mean, if I go to an event, like, I'll bring a 6-pack of non-alcoholic beer, but I make sure, like, I'll go to a store that has shit that I like. Like, I'm not gonna go to O'Doul's or something other than that, like Coors Edge or whatever they have. I'm not going to get those if I can go to...
Sounds gross.
Coors Edge isn't so bad. If you can handle a Coors Yellow Belly, Coors Edge is all right. But
Yellow Belly used to be my favorite.
Yeah, you would like a Coors Edge then. They're really not far off. It's a little more watered down, but it's... I mean, it tastes just like a Coors Light.
Okay. Coors Light is already pretty watered down.
Yeah, and they honestly they taste just the same. Like
Yeah.
I haven't had a Coors Light in fucking 10 years, but that's what it tastes like.
Another thing I've noticed is filling time. Now that I don't drink, because my drinking used to be, I'd come home from work, I'd drink 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 beers while I'm working on a project in the yard, or I'm raking, or I'm painting, and then you just like getting that genuine buzz, that baseline buzz that I like.
Yep.
And just keeping it going, and then I was like, oh, I'm not drunk, so like I'm good. Like I'm being responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd go to bed and I'd wake up feeling like shit, and then just do that every day.
Yeah.
And then come Friday, it was just like, it was clockwork. I'd go to someone's house, get fucked up, wake up all crudo, couldn't really get anything done. Go to do something else. Saturday, get fucked up, and then Sunday was like, oh, I don't want to drink. And then around 2:00, I'm like,
yeah,
the first beer of cranberry vodka, by myself, and it's just like, I come to realize, like, I don't know how to fill that extra time that I would be spending drinking. Yeah. And now it's like, I don't know how to do stuff without drinking.
That's kind of how I picked up the bobblehead thing.
Yeah.
To be truthful. I mean, I collect bobblehead dolls. Like, I've collected bobbleheads for a good part of 20 years, maybe close to 30 even. But I just never really painted anything. Like, I'm decently artistic, but when it comes to writing and shit, I'm not much of a painter. I'm not. Like, I can spray paint shit, but the bobbleheads, I collect them, and one day I was like, you know what, dude, I can fucking do this. Like, I can fucking make myself a bobblehead. I wanted, it all stemmed because the Condors didn't, for one, like you said, I had a lot of fucking time. Like, they'd be like, what are you going to do tonight?
It's scary how much free time you have.
Like, oh shit, it's Tuesday night and I'm sitting at home at fucking 6 p.m. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Yeah, and that's exactly it.
You're sick of watching TV, man.
Like, I was talking to one of my buddies, and I was like, dude, I wonder if they're ever going to give out a Joe Gambardella bobblehead with the Condors, He's like, I don't know, you probably just have to make one. Ooh. Oh, maybe I should do that. Shit, I could fucking do this. So I went to fucking Hobby Lobby and bought like a cheap Dremel tool, and like I got prepared. Like I messaged a couple people that I noticed did custom bobbleheads. I'm like, what do you use? What's your process?
That's smart.
Yeah, well, and some people are reluctant to give up tips.
Really?
And I get that. I mean, when I started, I've been doing it for 3 years or so, I guess, about 3 years. And when I started, it was kind of a money business. The bobblehead community, it's ridiculous how much it's grown. But there's a lot of us out there. Like, really, there's a lot of us out there all through the world. In fact, this country is just full of them. But, teams like minor league baseball teams, or minor league hockey teams, or even, major league baseball teams, they all give out bobbleheads, like every one of them, really. So there's a shit ton of bobbleheads out in this world, and we're not getting the ones we want. So people are starting to paint their own or customize their own, So yeah, a lot of people made it a money business. I mean, there's people out there that are really good, better than I am, and I'm pretty good. Like I think my work is actually really good. But there's people out there that were making, $160, $170, $200 a bobblehead, and that's quite a bit of change. For me, it takes about 8 hours. If I was going to fully sit down and had like a hair dryer so I could dry paint really quickly between coats, it would probably take me about 8 hours to complete one full bobblehead. About 8 hours.
Makes sense.
And that's a lot of work. It's a lot of time, and people don't want to pay for your time. They don't understand that, like if I'm making $10 an hour on this bobblehead, you did it for 8 hours, that's $80 flat. And people are like, oh, damn, that's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Well, go to bobbleheads.com. They're going to charge you $220.
Right.
Like that's straight up. I'm going to charge you $100.
So your process is, do you like carve it or do you cast it?
It depends on the bobblehead. A lot of them I have like body molds, or I just take a bobblehead that I already have, and I'll customize it to whatever team or whatever sport that it is. Like if it's a baseball bobblehead I'll shave off all the numbers, all the letters, everything off of it, so it's basically just a bare body. And then
in a popular pose.
Yeah, and a lot of them will be in the pitching pose or a cat. I'll make any pose really. And the same with hockey. Like I do a lot of hockey, so I'll have left-handed shooters, right-handed shooters. Just I make a plethora of them just to have them. So if someone's like, "Hey, man, my kid plays hockey. Can I get a bobblehead?" I'd be like, yeah, for sure. I've already got the base, so I don't need to charge that person you know, 80 or 90 bucks,
yeah.
you know, for the base. I've already got it. We're going to charge you $20. Bam.
That's
you
not
know?
bad at all.
No, it's really not, you know, and then they're like, okay, well, and with the heads, I'm not quite to the point where I can actually sculpt the face and make it really look like the kid or the person. So I find one that I think is close and I'll use that. I'll make sure that they, you know, are okay with it. Generally I can get pretty close, you know, like I can find a head from another bobblehead or make one myself. It's just, I'm not quite that great yet. But that's kind of what I do, you know, and I do my best to keep it right around, depending on how much the customization is. If it's really just kind of like a paint scheme with logos, you know, trying to match a face, it's usually really right around $50, you know, and that's shipped to the person's house. I do my best to keep it pretty close to, because once again, you're not really paying for your time.
Yeah.
Like if people wanted to pay for your time, you could charge $80 for a base bobblehead, you know, but you're not making anything on supplies. It's just not there. So I really do it as a labor of love. And most of the bobbleheads I make are given away. So
I hear you, man. I got one bobblehead experience when I was a kid. We went to a Condors game.
Yeah.
And they gave out the bobbleheads. And there was the goalie that was Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name, but he had
Yutaka Fukufuji.
Yeah, dude, he had that crazy the goalie mask.
Yep.
And I remember getting it. I remember taking it out of the package, and I got home and I put it on my desk. And I was like, dude, this is cool. It was just like so well done and really badass. And
yeah,
I think I still have it. It's at my parents' house, but it was super cool.
The Fukufuji is actually a really nice one. It's probably the heaviest the Condors have ever given out. It's fucking 2-pound bobblehead. It's huge.
It's like a hefty bobblehead. It's not like a flimsy one. Like it's a solid bobblehead.
And it's easily broken. His blocker on his right hand, the little pad thing, it breaks off really easily. Like it's easy to put back on. And then there's a piece to his stick that goes into a hole that a lot of them lost, you know, like because you just don't notice it when you open the box. And that's why bobbleheads are so big. Like the Condors, I think for theirs, it's like average. They give out 2,000 bobbleheads per event, you know, that they do.
Insane.
Yeah. And 2,000 seems like a lot, but it's only because we only get 4,000 or 5,000 people at a game max, you know? But a lot of teams will give out 20,000. Like the Dodgers, they give out like 60,000 of their bobbleheads anytime they do it. So the value of it's not so bad. But like with the Condors, you get like they gave one out and it's Fist Bobble as well. He's a fighter. And that one, dude, like if you can find that and you can sell it, I mean, that's an $80 bobblehead just as it sits. And that's a lot of money for a game, one that was given out for free. You know what I mean? Like the bobblehead world is crazy as fuck. And if
it's almost worth going to the game just to get the bobblehead.
Definitely, dude, especially if you know me, because then you can just be like, here, man, I don't want this shit. Yeah, dude, I enjoy it, man. I've got every Bakersfield team. So like the Condors or the Blaze or the Bakersfield Dodgers or the Bakersfield Blitz or whatever the Jam, I think was a basketball team. Any team that has ever played in Bakersfield that gave away a bobblehead, I own it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I think I've got every Condor, every Blaze. I've even got one from like it's like a 1962 made in Japan. It's like an old school classic bobblehead, and it's a Bakersfield College Renegades.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Took me years to find it, but I finally got one, and it's probably the most valuable in my collection for sure. I mean, it's probably a $200 bobblehead. Yeah,
nice.
And it's only because it's old. You know, it's one of those like paper mache.
It's made out of paper mache?
Yeah, it's old. Like I protect that fucker with my life.
If there's a fire, dude.
Oh, dude.
The dogs, the cats,
it's the first thing I grab.
They're fun, dude.
Fuck out of here, dog.
You have legs.
She's only got 3, but she's good. Oh shit.
That's funny, man. That's cool. Bobbleheads. You never really run into people that are bobblehead enthusiasts.
Yeah, it's out here you don't. I've met a couple of people out here that really are. One of my really good friends, she has a fucking badass collection of bobbleheads. She has pretty much every Dodgers bobblehead that they've ever given out at the stadium. And then she's an Orioles fan too, so she's got a nice little collection of Orioles. And I've got a soft spot for the Orioles because Cal Ripken Jr. was my favorite ball player. So
okay,
yeah, I've got a soft spot for the Orioles. I don't mind. I hate their colors, but I can't deal with that.
Yeah, right. That's cool. You know, I don't really collect anything. It's interesting when you meet people that collect stuff.
Yeah, and I do. I collect bobbleheads like a motherfucker.
I collect vinyl and albums.
I collect vinyl as well. Actually,
Yeah.
I've got a bunch of vinyl records. In fact, I was looking at your Going Underground sticker right here. In fact, I'm like, oh, yeah. I've got a couple of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got my roommate into it, man. He had a badass collection from his dad.
Uh-huh.
Like, and I say badass, but Like, what I mean is like original pressings from like, the 70s and even the late 60s, early 70s of shit that I wouldn't listen to. But like, I know when I put it on, I'm listening to it, I'm like, fuck, dude. I can just see my dad sitting out in his fucking 40 Econo van smoking doobie, fucking ELO and shit.
That's cool, man.
I know. I'm like, dude, my dad listened to this shit just getting loaded as fuck.
My dad actually gave me his collection.
Oh, that's dope.
And I remember I was going through it, and it was only like 10 or 15, maybe 12. And I found a Ozzy Osbourne, Randy Rhoads.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I was like, whoa. And I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
And it's like a little scratched up. But dude, I can't get rid of that thing, dude. I will never get rid of it. It's like one of my favorite possessions.
Yeah,
It's like my dad listened to it, and he was my age, being a cool punker, punk rocker. My dad used to wear parachute pants, and have a mushroom haircut, And it's just like I feel connected to my dad in his youth with me in my youth, So it's like, dude, this is a badass album too.
Yeah, and that's, I think that's kind of what I get from it too. Like, I didn't inherit any of my father's records, but I do have a few that I've definitely, like, when I was a kid, we went camping a lot. And my dad had this fucking cassette tape of The Cars, their very first album, The Cars. And he'd play that shit every time we went camping, dude, for years and years. Just anytime we went camping, The Cars, we always listened to this album. So I knew it front to back, as far as the cassette tape went, I knew it front to back. And it just became one of those albums that, like, anytime I heard a song from it, I'm like, fuck, that's a great album. So now, this girl that I have a fucking mad crush on, she bought me this record. And I've probably listened to it 25 times in the last 3 weeks, I guess. It's just one of those, like, I connect with it, like my dad introduced me to this. This is something that he listened to in 1978 when it came out, when he was fucking 18 years old, like, he was like, dude, this is fucking, like, that's dude. The shit.
It's a great feeling. I remember being a kid, and my dad had this 1994 Nissan XE, the little truck, and it was a single cab, but it had those seats that kind of
fold down from behind,
fold down from the sides. And I remember sitting there like this, dude. My dad's just like putting on cassettes after cassettes.
Oh yeah.
And then I remember. He was like describing me this this cool band, dude. They're awesome. They had like long hair, and he's like showing me the cassette tape, and then they all looked fruity. I was like, Dad, are these guys gay? He goes, Whitesnake is not gay. I was like in the 3rd or 4th grade. I was like, okay, great. Dad, they're wearing a lot of leather and makeup and long hair. Like, these are the guys you told me to look out for. You're listening to them.
Whitesnake. That's great. Is this love? Oh, that's great.
Yeah, dude, and like my dad liked all kinds of music. I remember he would put on like 4 Non-Blondes.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it was like, what is this? Is this a chick or a dude? And his dad's like, it's 4 Non-Blondes, man.
Yeah.
And he's like describing the band, and then I was like, all right, cool. This is badass. And now when I listen to 4 Non-Blondes, everybody loves that song, right? That one-hit wonder song. Wake up in the morning and step outside. Take a deep breath and I get real high.
Yeah.
And I think of my dad in the 94, 95.
That's
sitting like
up.
This in the back seat, dude. But I just blaring and just.
Dude, you know what? That's one thing I'm glad I got to experience. I was born in the early '80s, so I got a lot of really good music throughout my life. Like, I mean, I didn't pick up all of the '80s because, of course, I was born in '82. Kind of late in '82, in fact. But when you start listening to music, 4 years old or so, like 86, 87 was when I really started picking up on music and like how good shit sounded, and like I got a lot of good shit. Like I got the end of the '80s, all of the '90s as far as music goes. Right. So I got to see
the '90s was a renaissance,
dude. Like you think about all the good shit from the early '90s, the grunge era, all the way down to like the boy band era. Like I'm not gonna say that I didn't like NSYNC because they had some fucking songs,
Yeah,
like,
dude, some bangers, man.
Like,
if you respect music, you respect NSYNC.
Agreed. So I can't be like fucking boy band. Like I can't do that. But I got to experience all that, and then even in the early 2000s, you go through all your, the emo phase or the scene phase. I missed some of it due to the military, but it's not like we were cut off from the world. We still got music and shit. So I got to experience a lot of that. But Yeah, I think the 80s and the 90s, man, we got kind of spoiled. Like,
Dude, in the 90s, you got gangster rap, you got
Yeah.
grunge, you got the introduction of ska to
Yeah.
the mainstream.
That third
dude.
wave ska, yeah,
You
to the
got third wave
mainstream.
ska, dude. You got some great rock and roll, man.
Absolutely.
People say that, oh, hair metal's the best. Hair metal's cool.
Yeah,
but
it's all right.
Yeah, we're talking about like Rage Against the Machine.
Absolutely.
And Audio Wave, Audio Slave. Well, yeah.
Even like the Pantera fans are gonna hate me for this. The good era of Pantera, because like their '80s shit. Their first 3 albums were all like it was like glam metal, and then Phil came in for power metal. I think was their 4th album, but it was still like like hair metal. And then in 1990
to it, yeah.
In 1990 they dropped Cowboys from Hell, and that fucking changed the way that metal was in the '90s. So yeah, we got. I'm super spoiled.
I do like the idea that that music's change in a direction where it's not good anymore. Yeah. But I think there's just so much, and I think the radio stations just don't represent what the good music is. I think we're in a golden era of music now.
Yeah,
I think we got like Kendrick Lamar. We got like a lot of these underground rappers like Jarb D. Mac Miller, dude, made some great fucking music in his later career when he discovered himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we are right now kind of hitting like this huge explosion of great music.
Yeah.
And I think it's just with the culture, the more people you have, the more better the music is. The shittier times are, the better the music gets.
Yeah, that's true. More time on our hands to create, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right about the radio. Like, I haven't listened to a real radio station in a long time, man. Like, I'll listen to 98.5 or like the classic rock station. Mm-hmm. I'll listen to that simply because I like classic rock. It doesn't fucking change. But I listen to the I don't know what it's called, 101.5, I guess, but only because it's kind of a mix of music that doesn't really change. Whereas now, I mean, if you were to listen to Crab Radio,
it's like 9 songs.
What are you listening to?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? Tell us what this is. And then they'll throw in an Imagine Dragons song for, for quota.
The 30th time in the last hour.
Yeah, like, come on, man. This isn't even radio anymore. It's all Clear Channel garbage,
I stumbled upon 103.5, and
I'll have to check that out.
I only recognized maybe like a third of the songs.
Oh, shit.
So I was like, who's this? Who is this? Who is this? And they're always like bands that like, or their YouTube videos have like maybe a couple thousand views.
Oh, wow.
So like, ooh, this is cool.
So it's new. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like a lot of this like hidden kind of jammy stuff like on there. And there's like a lot of old music, new music, a great mix. I feel like the DJ is just like, you know what, man? Fuck this shit.
Random,
dog.
Yeah. And that's cool. I mean, that's kind of what I do most of the time. Like when I'm in my car, I just find a playlist and I'm like, shuffle. Like I really don't care what it is. I do that with records a lot. I don't really listen to anything outside of vinyl. Like when I'm at home, all I listen to is vinyl. I don't listen to my phone or any that I strictly use for my phone in my car. But I'll do that. Like I buy records just because I think that I'll listen to it. Like I just bought the Black Puma's debut album. It was like a new release issue.
Yeah, I got that album too.
Yeah,
it's a great album.
Fuck. Like, you can put that fucker on and just listen to it, once it stops, flip it over and put it on and just listen to it. You don't have to know every song.
All my favorite colors.
Yeah, great song. And you don't have to know every single song on that for it to be a fucking good record.
It's a great
just
album
to listen to. You know what I mean? Like, my roommate has a record by the band. If you guys have heard of the band, they're fucking old, like 60s band. But they have a song called The Weight, and it's on one of the records he has. It's like the second song. But
the band, you're talking about the band.
The band, yeah.
And
the song is called The Weight.
It's a fucking great album.
It is.
Yeah, it's a great song.
It is.
The album's okay, but that's a great fucking...
The album's not bad, and it's one of those ones that you can just put on and just listen to. Mm. Whereas I've bought records where I'm like, Hootie and the Blowfish. Like, I love Hootie and the Blowfish, don't hate me.
Rucker, yeah.
But I bought a Hootie and the Blowfish record because I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to listen to it, and there's like 3 or 4 songs on there to like, but the rest of it's kind of a drag, So...
Yeah.
I don't listen to that as often unless I'm fully active and able to, change the record to where I want it to go or whatever. Because a lot of the time I'll just put it on and just kind of hang out. I'll smoke some weed, watch a hockey game or clean my house or whatever. I'll just have music playing in the background. So I do that. I like to have like greatest hits records. I'll do compilation records. I picked up a Motown compilation the other day.
Oh, did you?
Oh, so good. So good.
That's like a lost art, man. It's just like the art of the album.
Yeah.
Like one of the greatest albums of all time is Kendrick Lamar's "To Pimp a Butterfly."
Is it?
It's one of the greatest consecutive. Like it's the whole album's one piece, and that's got a lot of songs on it. And there's a lot of poppy stuff, and there's a lot of bangers. But though in between the bangers, I think those are the gems.
Yeah.
And it's a cohesive piece. It's not just like picking out songs that kind of match. Because at the beginning of every song, he tells a snippet of a poem that he wrote. Sure. And as the songs progress on the album, the poem actually progresses itself. So by the end, you get this whole piece. And he also has this thing where he did this mock interview with Tupac.
Oh wow!
And he has audio from Tupac, and he's asking him questions, and he has like snippets of interviews that Tupac did, and it feels like one piece.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so he's asking these questions, and of course, the questions that they had originally asked. It's a little different, but it's a little bit like manipulating and trying to like make it sound a certain way, but it's like really stunning.
It's still pretty dope. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
When I first listened to that came out in like 2015. Or 2013. That really made me like get into music and collecting vinyl. It's the first album I bought on vinyl.
Oh,
I
nice.
didn't even have a record player.
Dude, that's. I had a collection. This is gonna sound terrible. It's gonna make my ex-wife sound like a royal bitch. My ex-wife didn't like my former collection that I had. It was kind of small. I went to a yard sale, and this lady, she had a sign in front of her house that said, "Take whatever you want. Ex-husband shit."
Oh damn, this stuff's cursed.
Straight up, dude. So I saw like this crate of records, man, and actually the one in front was an original pressing of Lynyrd Skynyrd's Street Survivor. So it had the front where the band members were still on fire, Yeah. And I was like, oh, dude, that's kind of dope, like just to have one, it's kind of cool. And I looked at the vinyl and it was playable. So I asked her, I'm like, hey, what do you want for this crate? And she's like, take it. It's my ex-husband's shit. Thanks, I'll take this, and this.
You should just take everything, man.
I did. I took the whole crate. But eventually, and that was, years and years and years ago. But eventually my ex-wife just kind of hated it. Like we had a record player. I never really listened to it a whole lot. Not as much as I do now. So we went down to Going Underground. And the dude was like, yeah, I'll buy these records. And he bought them for me and took the cash and rolled. And I didn't start collecting again until... probably 2 years ago or so. I'd say about 2 years ago. I got a record from a friend for Christmas, and I didn't have a record player. She was like, "Hey, I know you'd like it. I have one. I had to get you one."
That's
right
a great
on.
Friend.
Yeah, it was an Alkaline Trio record, and it's like a picture disc. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's great. I'll take it. I'll listen to it eventually.
What album was it?
God Damn It.
By who?
Alkaline Trio.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good record. Like it's one of my favorite of their records. In fact, aside from their self-titled, it's golden. But I was just so stoked to have the record that like I used to work at a place downtown, and they used to do a farmer's market in the parking lot. And like Record Store Day one year, a record store came out. I don't think it was Going Underground, but it was someone else that had a bunch of records. Maybe. And they had an Alkaline Trio record. So I was like, you know what, dude? I'm going to snag that fucker. It was only $3. Didn't have a record player. Didn't care. So I had 2 Alkaline Trio records before I even got a turntable, And I was at Walmart 2 years ago and saw that they had those cheap ass Crosleys, dude. And I just picked it up, So I'll get that.
Rough, dude.
They are. It's definitely good if you want something to play your records on for the time being, but
if you're at a picnic,
don't use that as your regular.
They tear records up.
Oh yeah, those needles are awful. They're not good. But if, like I said, if it's something that you just use, like
get you into it.
Yeah,
it's a good gift for like your 13-year-old niece.
Perfect.
She's
yeah.
like, I like music. You're like, well, here, you can start listening to albums. And then she'll start saving her babysitting money and buy like a nice turntable.
Yeah. And you can get a good one at Walmart. Fuck, I got a Crosley. I fucking don't know what it's called. It is a Crosley, but they don't use a Crosley stylus. They use a different stylus on it, the needle. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't wear out your records as much. But it's a decent turntable. Like it's belt driven, comes with a fucking like Bluetooth speaker and shit. Like, hell yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Like that's all I really need. And eventually, I'd like to actually get a really nice old setup, something that's been like refurbished, like just a really old record player, with the whole entertainment center and speakers and shit. But
Yeah.
that's just because
I got.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. That's kind of like what I'd like, something that looks old school as fuck because I'm old.
Yeah, dude. It's just like an old record player from the early '80s, and it was just like a super high tech back then. But I only bought it for like $200. But it's also like, my dad does the same thing where he goes to yard sales or he goes to Goodwill and he picks up receivers and CD players and he just like picks it up, weighs it a little bit. He goes down, they plug it in, it turns on, the lights goes, fuck it. Receivers are solid. They're kind of bulletproof, dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so he just like picks it up, and then like my dad's just got like a bunch of receivers. I like pull the receiver, plugged it in, took my shitty one and kind of switched it out, took his nicer one, his Pioneer one, and I switched it out with my fucking whatever. I had like a Yamaha, and it's just like, yeah, dude. So like,
yeah, that's essentially what I'd like. I'd like a full setup like that, dude.
Yeah,
like my dad's old shit.
Picking from here and picking from there, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm into it. Right now, what I've got is good. I mean, the record selection I have. I mean, I don't really have a whole lot of old vinyl. A lot of my stuff is brand new and shit, But
which is, dude, people give shit and they're like, oh yeah, this is like a first pressing. It's like, yeah, but it sounds like shit.
Yeah, and that's exactly it.
It's been played 10,000 times, dude.
Yep.
Why don't you just buy a brand new Led Zeppelin third album on Amazon for $19, bro?
Yep, that's exactly how I feel. Someone said that to me the other day. I went to World Records. Actually, it was at World Records, and I asked him about a Descendants record he has. And he was like, "Oh yeah, let me get you a price on that." I'm like, okay, cool, And he said, "Oh, dude, you're gonna hate me. It's like $150." What the fuck? Did it come from 1982 or what? Like, what the fuck, dude? I'm gonna listen to this thing. Like, I don't give a fuck if it's an old record or not. He's like, no, yeah, they're not pressing anymore, so this one's a collector's item. I'm like, Jesus Christ. All right, when you get a brand new one in, let me know because I'm going to play the fuck out of it. If it's old, I don't, I don't mind having new records. Like, if I wanted to collect the record for monetary value, fine. I'll get something nice and old. But, dude, if I'm going to listen to Bob Marley's Legend 100,000 times on my record player, I'm going to buy a brand new one.
And even a brand new one's like $35.
Yeah, dude.
But it's still like, why would he... There's a couple albums in my collection that are old. Like I have some Yellow Man albums that are like original pressings, and they're only like $15 on eBay, right? Because they're like mass produced. There's a couple. I got the Sex Pistols. Never mind the Blokes. Here's the Sex Pistols. Their first album. I got a second pressing.
Oh, okay.
And I got it for I was in Seattle and I was at a record store and I was on vacation.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'll spend like $45 on it. Fuck it. And I got it. And it's in my collection. I also got like the Clash. They have it's like the third studio album, the one with the really colorful one where the guy's like passed out on it's like a cowboy version.
Oh yeah. I
got the promo one that had the one they sent to the
like record companies.
To the record companies. No, the one they sent to the to the DJs, the radio DJs, and it has the two extra fucking songs, and it says promo right on the album.
Yeah, sale was prohibited and shit.
Yeah, sale's prohibited. Like this is like a cool piece. Like
yeah, that's dope.
There's a couple stuff like that, but I went through this process where I had like 3 times the size I had now.
Yeah.
And I find myself just buying albums because they were good albums. So I was like, yeah, that's a good album. But I was like, but I don't really even care about Elvis Presley that much.
Right.
And you're just like, I'm not going to listen to this shit. Like, now I have it just for the odd chance that someone's going to fish through my album and be like, wow, this guy's cool because he has an Elvis record. I was like, this is like a vain-ass collection. So I fished through it and I was like, never going to listen to this. I love this. I can't get rid of this. This is okay, but I can get rid of it. But like the ones that I couldn't get, like everything there is like something that I could not get rid of.
Yep, I've done that recently too. I actually someone messaged me. I had a couple of I got a bunch of vinyl for Christmas, a bunch, and I didn't want to take.
Worst?
Well, it's not. But a lot of it was brand new. My sister doesn't really know what my collection consists of, so she just got me a bunch of stuff she thought I'd like, And it's like, well, if you want to take it back, all that. I just took it to Going Underground. Here, dude, buy these. I'll take the store credits. I've already got them, or I just don't want them. Like I got a Darius record from her, and I'm like, I don't want this shit.
Yeah,
like I'm never gonna listen to this. But I did that. I purged almost everything that I didn't think I have, and there was one I kept. It's a Motorhead record. I only kept. I don't know why I kept it, but it was basically the same thing. Like if someone came to my house and saw that I had a Motorhead record, they'd be like, "Oh, this dude's metal as fuck."
It's so true, right?
Yeah, I've listened to Ace of Spades maybe twice and taken that record off.
Ace of Spades.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those. I agree with that. Like, people look at my collection, and I do like Elvis, so I've got like Elvis Christmas and then Elvis Greatest Hits. But yeah, like, I won't add a Johnny Cash record to my. Not a huge Johnny Cash fan. I won't add a Johnny Cash record to my collection because I'm never gonna listen to a Johnny Cash record. You know, like, I don't give a fuck about my friend that comes over and it's like, "Hey man, you got some Johnny Cash?" Fuck no, I've got Garth Brooks.
Garth Brooks, and I hate it. Yeah, dude, like, for me, like, I'm actually like a big country western fan.
Yeah, nice.
And so, like, Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison Blues, like, Folsom Prison, the one, the live performance. Yep. That's the only one that I'll keep. If I find it at a good price, I'll buy it.
I just got it from my brother-in-law for Christmas.
Did you?
Yeah, they have it at Walmart, bro.
That's a good one.
They do.
Yeah, but it's still like $35-$40.
Yeah, I think it might have been $35.
Yeah, it's still like, man, like, I want it, but I don't want it that bad.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Same. Like, there's a Silverchair record at the FYE in the mall right now, and I'm really want this record, but I don't want to pay $60 for it.
Yeah, dude. Like, if I'm patient, I'll get it eventually.
Yeah, and that's how I feel.
And if it's $20 20 years from now, and I still don't want it, then that means I never really wanted it that bad.
Yeah, if I can get it for $30, I mean, I'll pick it up for $30. Why am I paying $60 for a record?
That's too much.
Do that, dude.
That's too fucking much.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's like an original pressing of like
a band that you
Milo Goes to
like,
College.
Yeah, like
some Bad Religion record.
Yeah, dude, something that's like ingrained in like your love of music. It's like your core value.
Yeah,
it's like oh yeah, of course I'm gonna buy it, like, for sure.
I think I paid $40 for a Specials record, like a 1982 pressing of their self-titled. You know, I paid like $40 for that, and I was like, oh god. But when I got the record and it nearly snapped in my hand because it's so thin, I knew I was right.
Dude, that sucks. But I'm a little guilty of spending a little bit of money on vinyl. Like, there's this, so a lot of the stuff I buy is like from overseas.
Oh yeah.
So like Jorge Confiorne, he's an Argentinian like Spanish folk singer, and I bought 2 albums from a record store in Spain.
Oh wow.
But it was just like $15 from the album. I was like, yeah, dude, obviously.
$100,000
like
for shipping.
It was like another $15. I was like, fuck, dude, $30. And I told the guy, I was like, I'll tell you what, man, I'll buy 2 of the same albums if you give them to me each for $12, and then I pay for the shipping.
Yeah.
So it was like, it's like a little workaround. But I was like, I have the albums, I have 2 copies.
Yeah, that's cool.
And you can't find it anywhere else. So it was like one guy on eBay sold it, happened to have 2 copies, and I bought them both. But it's just like little stuff. Like, there's some punk albums, like these new synthwave stuff from Russia that I like, or Germany. Like I'll spend, fuck it, if for a 7-inch for 45, fuck it, I'll spend $30.
Sure, yeah.
I'm never gonna find this again.
Yep.
It's from Russia. It's something I like. I'm never gonna run into it at Going Underground Records
or at Bookhounds by any means. Yeah,
you're never. So it's like, fuck it. It's something that I like, and I listen to them all the time. You know.
Yeah. I would definitely do that. There's a couple. I mean, even by the Alkaline Trio, they've got a couple 45s out there that if I ever snagged, I mean, they're $100. You know, like if I ever saw one and it was in front of me, I'm shelling out the coin for it.
Yeah, I know. Like,
I have to have it.
There's this new cat called Pale J. And he's from England, and he's got this really cool like postmodern like synth stuff, and it's like really gorgeous
nice
music. And his album doesn't even come out till June.
Oh wow.
And I spent like fucking $60 on it, dog. I messaged him, I was like, hey dog, I spent all this money for your album, you gonna sign it for me? And he was like, yeah man, I'll see what's up.
That'd be dope. I mean, that's worth it in itself, you know, because what if he gets, you know, insanely popular and now you've got his autograph and shit. So
sure, I mean,
dope.
I predict him getting popular. It's great music, you know.
That's what's up. That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, music is it's interesting. There's like 2 types of people that listen to music. There's the guy that's like whatever's on the radio is cool, like just like sort of kind of into it.
Yeah.
He knows who Motley Crue is. he knows his dad liked Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the extent of his.
It's like my oldest brother.
You're just like, what do you mean? You don't care about music? And then there's the other guy that gets upset at the first guy because you're like, what do you mean you don't know? You don't know who Black Sabbath is?
Yeah. That was me. I was the fucking music elitist. That was me. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
What do you mean you like Lizzo?
Yeah, dude. I actually, my oldest brother, he's not so bad. Like, he used to be. He was. There was a point in time where he'd be like, yeah, I never even heard that. I'm like, what the fuck? What do you like? How do you not listen to music? You know, like I even have a family member that every time I've ever gone to her house, then there's never music playing. It's always some sort of talk radio or.
That's weird.
I like it's the weird. Like, how can you drive from here to fucking LA and not listen to one song? You know, like
right?
What?
It's like in this new wave now you have podcasts, but I can't listen to a podcast when somebody else is in the car.
Yeah, right.
We're supposed to have our own podcast. We're supposed to just talk like that's
right. Or sing like a motherfucker, you know, something. Because I agree with that. You know, a lot of the time when you're driving, you do kind of want to be able to converse. So you don't listen to music a whole lot, like you're not. But yeah, listening to a podcast is different. I like doing that shit when I'm by myself, sure. But if I'm driving from here to motherfucking Spokane, Washington, I'm not gonna not listen to music. You know, there's gonna be a time when I put on my fucking playlist and be like, all right, I gotta sing my way through this fucking Central Valley, you know, like I'm just gonna have Dr. Laura hum me through the valley.
I remember I was driving to LA for whatever reason and my phone died and nothing was good on the radio and I just started like slapping the center console, just no, hey my baby on do run by, just like creating music. I was like, damn, am I mentally ill? Can I not just sit in silence for fucking 3 hours? And I was like, what's going on with my own head that I can't sit in silence? I was like, fuck it, dude, this is slapping right now, you know?
Oh man, I I kind of feel that. When I was stationed in Okinawa, I got my driver's license. It took like you had to be a certain rank in order to get a driver's license. You had to be a certain rank in the military. And then you had to have certain marks, like your CO had to sign off and be like, yeah, you're a good Marine, you know, whatever. So when I got my license, I got like a Nissan Skyline. I saw some fucking first sergeant was selling it as he was leaving. Cool, they sure are. No, it was the biggest piece of shit ever, dude. Like, seriously, the guy, I was like, whoa, look at it, it's a Nissan Skyline. Didn't fucking dude, man, drive a Nissan Skyline. Like, I was all into it. And I went and looked at it and was like, what the fuck? What is this?
Held together by
doesn't look like that car.
Dude.
Yeah, dude, basically. I mean, it was rusted out. It's salty air, you know, like nasty ocean weather out there in Okinawa. It's totally nasty. Humidity is about 4 billion. Like, it can be fucking no clouds in the sky and piss and rain on you. That's how terrible this place really is as far as climate goes.
Is that why they only send Marines there?
There's an Air Force base there too. Actually, the Air Force base is like, it's nice. Dude, they got hotels. Like when you go to the chow hall, you don't have to pick your tray up and take it anywhere. You just leave it on the table. It's the Air Force, bro. Like if I was smart enough to join the Air Force, I would definitely have done that because Jesus Christ, what a cakewalk that was.
Dude, like, I tried to join the Air Force.
They have a fucking Chili's on their base and shit.
Yeah. They got a Chili's and an Applebee's because they don't want to tie down their men to one Chili's.
Like, oh, the fucking Marines, they like Popeyes and Burger King. Fucking no Chili's.
It's like Waffle House, dude.
Yeah, that's true too. They like fucking people up.
The parking lot of Waffle Houses.
Oh yeah,
that's like part of their training. It's like day 3 of basic tramp. Is like, as you can see, we have built a mock Waffle House. This is a very real parking lot of a Waffle House. You guys will be doing hand-to-hand combat today.
You need to proceed taking 14 fireball shots. Have a great time. Oh god, dude, those are the days, man. I used to fucking fight my barracks roommate all the time. We'd drink whiskey sours, man, and be coming to base like, "Fuck you, motherfucker!"
And you're drinking whiskey sours, so you're cool, right?
You know what we drink whiskey sours. We went to this bar right off base, man. It was called East Coast. It was the greatest. Like, it was a shithole bar because the base that I lived on was basically primarily male. Like, I mean, the military, it's primarily male dominant,
right.
You know,
and a couple ugly chicks.
The Marine Corps is especially, the Marine Corps is especially like that, you know. And with an artillery unit, you don't have any women. Like, we had no women at all. So we don't really get to see that. And the bars are the same. Like, you go to the bar, if there's women there, you're buying them drinks and they're sitting on your lap, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we used to go to this bar, and for 10 whiskey sours, 10 whiskey sours was like $15.
Whoa.
You know, yeah, dude. And I'm talking
They're
like
strong as fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Fuck,
The
dude.
nastiest. Like, they're like, what kind of fucking whiskey are you using? The Eagle. The Eagle sounds great. Whatever their shitty ass whiskey
You
was.
could hear them crunching the plastic bottle of the whiskey.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely, man. But yeah, you can get 10 of them in you know, like a regular fucking rocks glass, like a, you know, decent sized whiskey sour, 10 of them for $15, man. And like, they took your American money. Whereas if you wanted to get a bottle of Budweiser, it was $5.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you can get
And
fucking...
whiskey sours are kind of delicious. I
Dude,
love
they're
whiskey sours.
fucking hella delicious. By the fucking 7th one, you don't really know you're drinking whiskey sours anyway.
So
Like,
that's
what
when
the
you
fuck?
switch to vodka crayons, dude.
Yeah, dude, and you can do any of that. And they had these giant fucking drinks, man. It was like a punch bowl, basically. But they would basically dump like 3 bottles of alcohol in there and some fucking fruity flavored shit and some shit to turn it pink, give you 4 straws, and have you...
4 straws.
Oh my god. Dude.
By the end, there's like shit floating around at the bottom of that shit.
You
dude.
could drink one of those and legit 25 minutes later,
Time travel.
sleeping on the ground, bro. Like, you could be like, man, night is fucking great. Drink one of those, and 30 minutes later, your night is fucked up.
What's the drinking age in Japan?
Well, when I was there, it was 20.
Okay.
And for American citizens, so for Marines, it was 21. Like, you had to be,
fuck.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
annoying.
I have a buddy, and he's actually still a good buddy of mine now to this day. He was gonna get promoted. He was only 20 years old. Went out and got fucking drunk, hammered drunk, and we were in promotion formation the day, you know, the weekend after. So we went out on a Saturday night, and he got fucking blasted drunk, got in trouble, you know, because he was underage drinking, and they had promotion formation on that Monday. We're standing there, and he calls all these people up to formation to get promoted, and he calls him last, so he's the last one. He gets through all of the promotion things, got to his, read it in front of us, and then ripped it up right in front of his fucking face.
Dude. Talk about heavy shoulders, man.
Oh, I was like, bro, that sucks dick. He didn't get promoted, but he didn't lose a rank because they had already promoted him as far as the paperwork goes. You know, he just hadn't received his rank yet. So he did technically get promoted, but, you know, that was just a sign of effect that, hey, you're not going to be promoted for very much longer.
Yeah.
You're going to lose that rank in just a moment. And he did. And he got NJP'd and lost his rank. But now I think the military is the same as the country. I think it's 20 years old now. Like, I know it was 20 when I was there, for sure. Japan's great, man. I would love to go back.
Yeah, even though it sucks, like you were saying.
I would like to go back as a civilian, and only because, like, Okinawa is kind of terrible, but mainland Japan is fucking dope. Like, Tokyo was the shit. I went to Fuji-Q Highlands. It's a roller coaster park there, like an amusement park. I'd love to go back. You know, like, I would love to go back as a civilian and not have to be back at a hotel, you know, checking in. Man, hey, I'm here for a sergeant. You know, like, fuck all that. I want to go out and never come back. Like, who am I? Who's in charge of me?
That's funny.
Like, Thailand was that way. You know, like, they were like, okay, you got to be back by the hotel by 3 a.m. What? Just let me go sleep in a hooker's bedroom, dude. I'll be fine.
Dude, Japan's a weird one, man. I heard that, like, you know how you can be from anywhere, live here in the States, move here, be here for 10 years, have kids here, be here for 30, 50 years. You're considered a foreigner. Or not a foreigner. You're local.
Yeah.
You're not considered an outsider.
Yeah.
You can have Korean kids, and they go to school here, and it's like, yeah, they're just like everybody else. Like, it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But you can go to Japan, live there for 10 years, have a family there, and those kids be the same color as you. You're a foreigner, dude.
Yeah.
You'll never be accepted, like, socially amongst the other people. Like, they'll always treat you as an outsider. I thought that was, like, so isolating.
I think that they do that too. I have a buddy who married an Okinawan national. Like, yeah, first piece of pussy this guy ever got. Sorry, bro, if you listen to this. He married this girl, and I think you're right, because their kids look just like him. Like, the girl, you can see that she's got Japanese in her, but his son looks exactly like him. Like, you would never even tell that his mom's Japanese at all. So it makes me wonder, like, hey, do they think your kids are foreigners? Like, I know you speak Japanese full on, like I know he does, but still kind of weird.
Yeah, like, it was weird. Like, the Japanese people only treat each other like there's a clear delineation between somebody who isn't Japanese in Japan opposed to somebody that is Japanese in Japan.
Yeah. Well, even they do that with like Okinawans too. I mean, Okinawans, they don't like to be called Japanese.
Oh, that's
they
right.
They like to be called Okinawan, and Japanese don't like you to call the Okinawans Japanese at all. You know, like they're two totally different island nations almost, but they're not. You know,
they're the same government, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's all Japan, but Okinawa is way different, man. Like their rules are a lot different than anywhere else in Japan. Like we went to what the place is called, Gotemba. It's there's like a military base in Gotemba there, and it's right at the base of Mount Fuji and shit. And we went out into town into Gotemba, and there's a lot of people that don't like us there. You know, like they're like, no, fuck you, dude. Like you can't come in here. You can't come in here. You can't come in here. It's because we're known for getting drunk and fucking shit up. You know what I mean?
And fucking their women, dude.
Yeah, that too. I mean, that wasn't gonna go.
Where all the Okinawa women at, you know?
Dude, when I got there, you have to do like this week-long sensitivity training. Basically, like they tell you, don't do this, don't go rape women, don't fucking cuss at people. Like you do straight up week-long sensitivity, and they tell you like all of this shit. You know, like don't get drunk and go to someone's house ever. You know, like don't ever do that. And it's all the shit, and you have to watch this video about this kid that did just that. You know, like he got drunk as fuck, went to somebody's house, raided their fridge, you know, ate all their fucking food, and then when the husband woke up and was like, what the hell's going on? He beat the fuck out of this dude, raped his wife, and then passed out on the couch.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, like holy fuck is right, you know, and they teach you all this.
Ending night.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, yeah, this dude, he was in the brig. He was in the brig at the base I ended up being on. Like straight up was in the brig at that base. I don't remember his name actually. I'm glad I don't remember his name, but I knew that he wasn't going to be leaving the brig anytime soon. You know, nobody died. The brig? It's the military jail.
Fuck.
Yeah, he was in military jail on the base that I was at, because the base that I got stationed on was Camp Hansen. That's where the brig is in Okinawa. Like.
That's harsh, bro.
Dude, I had to spend one night in there. I got a DUI in Okinawa.
Oh, did you?
Drinking was a problem, bro.
Is that an initiation or?
No, I passed this corporal's course. You do this thing like if you get nominated by your CO to do corporal's course, it's basically like saying, "Hey, welcome to being an NCO. Here's your sword manual. Learn how to use your sword. We're confident that you're going to be a good leader." It's basically like leadership shit. I met Arlie Ermy and shit. That was kind of cool.
Who?
Arlie Ermy, you know, the drill instructor from Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, really? That's cool.
He was our guest speaker at our graduation. It was pretty dope, you know. I thought it was cool anyway. He signed my bobblehead. I have an Arlie Ermy bobblehead, and he signed it for me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I heard he was a cool guy.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's dead now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so we graduated corporal's course, me and one of my buddies, and I had a license, and we decided we were going to go out and get fucked up. We didn't actually even really drive anywhere off base. We drove from my barracks all the way to like the front gate, parked our vehicle, walked out into town, got fucked up, walked back on base, got in my vehicle, and drove to my barracks, which was like 2 miles, really. Less than that even, not even 2 miles. But when I got out of my car at the barracks, the fucking duty SDO was on deck, and he saw me fall out of my driver's seat.
Oh, fuck.
Yep. DUI.
DUI, dude. He's like, you from Bakersfield? Only motherfuckers from Bakersfield get DUIs out here, boy.
No, it sucks. He was not kind of my superior. He was the staff NCO of the shop down the hall from me. And him and my sergeant at the time were really, really good friends. So it just kind of sucked. He kind of buddy fucked me. He didn't have to call anybody. He could have just been like, fuck a Marine, get the fuck up to your room. You know, like, whatever. Yeah. But he called the cops.
He called the cops?
Yeah, dude. MPs came down. I got arrested. Everything.
Fuck.
Spent the night in jail. Yeah. Spent the night in the drunk tank. Dude, my gunny came and got me that next day. He was fucking pissed. So pissed. Then I stood in front of my first sergeant, and he threw a fucking coffee mug through the wall. Damn. It was all bad, dude. It was all bad. He was not happy with me at all. And then I think like a month later, I got in trouble. You know, I didn't get NJP'd. I got NJP'd. Excuse me. I didn't lose any rank. They didn't take any rank from me, but they restricted me to the barracks for like a month, basically. And then I lost pay. I lost like half a month's pay for 2 months. So yeah, I lost a month's pay.
As your fine?
As my punishment. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's not like any different from if you had DUI here, you got to pay $3,000.
Something like that. Yeah.
So you don't get cut and you had to pay a fine. That's your fine. Okay.
Yeah. Normally you would lose rank. But my CO was pretty good with me. He was.
What rank were you?
I was a corporal, and I literally had just graduated corporal scores, like legit that Friday. So he knew like I just fucked up. I made a stupid decision, and he didn't bust me down. Did take my pay. But about a month, it was like right before this whole restriction thing ended, I got fucking wasted at a barracks picnic party. Dude, we like drank jungle juice and just, and I didn't wake up the next morning. Yeah, they had to call fucking paramedics down, dude. Shoved the fucking thing down my throat.
Oh, you didn't wake up like in terms of they're like shaking you and you weren't fucking waking up.
They had to call an ambulance. They basically bruised like the bones in my sternum because they were trying to wake me up with like the sternum rub, and like they did all kinds of shit to me. They had to put a catheter in me. Like it was all bad.
Fuck.
Oh yeah, it was bad.
Were you just threw up in your sleep, or did you just alcohol poisoning?
Yeah, alcohol. It was all alcohol. Like I was breathing. I was, I wasn't dead. I was breathing, and I was just unconscious. Yeah, they couldn't wake me up like at all. Like they had to drag me out of the barracks onto the fucking thing, onto the gurney, and carry me down. Like it was, I wasn't responsive. But when I woke up, which was like 7 to 8 hours later, I was in a hospital bed with a fucking hose in my dick, and I was like, oh, this isn't good. Like how the fuck did I get here? What the fuck? I don't remember any of it.
How was the reaction from your superiors?
It was bad.
They were pissed?
Yeah.
Or they were scared pissed. You almost fucking died?
Both. And that was really it. I think that's where the fear came from, was that they were afraid that I almost died. Like they didn't care that I got drunk at the barracks. I didn't do anything wrong. I just drank too much. And that I didn't break any rules. I didn't drive. I didn't do anything. I wasn't not allowed to drink. I drank at the barracks. So I think it was really just them being upset because, I could have died. Like they didn't know what the fuck was going to happen. They had to drive from our base all the way to the fucking air base to see if I was going to live.
With a fucking... So they drove you?
No, I went in an ambulance. But, I mean, my first sergeant and my fucking CO, and then, of course, my shop officer all showed up, and they were all waiting for me there when I woke up.
Mm-hmm. Were they there when they couldn't wake you up?
Yeah, I don't know who was there. I know that my barracks roommate... So from what the storyline I've been told, we had PT every morning at 6 a.m. every single morning. So normally we'd wake up at 5:30, get dressed, stretch out, go downstairs, whatever. And my roommate couldn't wake me up. So I missed PT. They came back and it was like 7 o'clock, when I was getting ready to get to work. And they're like, dude,
he's just too drunk. All right, fuck it. You'll get in trouble, but.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. So when they got back and I didn't show up for work, they're like, what the fuck? And they're like, we couldn't wake him up. We told you. Like he's fucked up. And that's when they all came to my barracks room. They couldn't get me, so they called the ambulance.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Terrifying. And I still didn't stop drinking. Can you believe that shit? Like,
how's that affected you? Just like thinking, like when you woke up in the hospital room, like what's going through your head? Like not just then, because obviously it takes some time to hit you. Yeah. Like for the next couple of days, that's all you can think about, right? Like,
yeah. For a while, actually. I mean, I was in the hospital for like 3 days. So I was there. When I woke up, I still had a day and a half left. Like, they weren't going to let me go until I was perfectly okay to go.
Especially because they didn't really know why.
Yeah.
They're like, something might be wrong.
Yeah. So, and I was only on island for another 8 months. Like, this happened in, like, September of 2000. Oh, no, I guess it was October 2006. And then I left in May of 07. So, from that time to the May of 07, I didn't drink again. Like, I didn't drink a single bit while I was on island. And it was tough. But I did a lot of shit that I didn't go out. I didn't hang out with anybody that would be drinking. I did a lot of single Marine program shit. Like I'd go to the gym. I hate going to the gym. I'd go to the fucking gym. I went on a couple of single Marine tour, like program things. Like when we went and saw a park in Okinawa. I think I mentioned that last weekend. We went to this park. It's called Peace Prayer Park. And there's like World War II memorial, and basically it's like these marble walls, double-sided, and they're all over this park, and it's got everybody who died in the Battle of Okinawa. It's got all their names. Wow. There were 2 people with my last name.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, 2. And that was powerful as fuck. Like, am I related to them? Likely not. But my last name isn't all that common. You know what I mean? Like, Truitt is, yeah, there's been a football player with the last name Truitt, but like, I don't know anybody else. Truitt for oil field maintenance, I guess, you know, but it's not super, super common. So I was really taken aback by that. You know, like I thought, fuck, what if I was related to two people that died on Okinawa?
Yeah, you've been third just from alcohol poisoning.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, alcohol took a lot, and I think about all the money that I spent while I was there. Like, if I was, when you get deployed, you get combat pay and hazard duty pay, and it's all tax free. So every paycheck that you receive while you're there every month is all tax free, you know, and you don't really use it. And like, you can go to McDonald's or Subway or whatever little store that they have that, you know, they'll accept your cash if you haven't changed it to whatever currency you need to. But you don't really spend a whole lot of money, you know, like you make a fucking ton of money. So when you get back, you have a bunch of money in your bank account, you know, like that was a terrible thing for me. You know, like I was 23 years old and I had $56,000 in my bank account. I wasn't going to the United States. Like I didn't need to buy a vehicle. I had a vehicle. The fuck do? I get fucking drunk.
Fuck, dude. Yeah. Like, what else are you gonna do? Are you working like 8-10 hour days, and then
basically, I mean, we'd go in, we'd do PT from like 6. We do PT from about 6 to 7. Be at work from like 8 to 5. That's about what our schedule was, with an hour lunch break. Well, sometimes 2-hour lunch break in between.
You guys work on weekends?
No weekends.
Damn. So
if you weren't deployed and you lived on base, you had weekends off, unless you were scheduled for duty.
So like, what do you do with all this free money?
Party,
not free
bro.
money, but like all this extra money.
Yeah, and when you're deployed, it's a little different. You know, there's not really a set schedule. You're all just kind of doing your thing. And if you're at the I mean, you could be at your bivouac site for days and days and days. You know, of course, your CO is going to have you want to do something. You know, go PM your fucking weapons or, you know, do something productive before you go out and play volleyball for fucking 19 hours. You know, like, there's a lot of downtime, dude. I had a barracks roommate that didn't get deployed. And I'm like, hey, bro, I need you to send me my PlayStation and every single one of my games. Because I didn't bring shit. Like, I brought 2 sea bags full of shit. And, like, they tell you bring, like, 2 pairs of civilian clothes. Okay, I brought 3, you know, just in case. But you don't really see that shit. You get to use it, but not like you would think you do. Really, you just need the stuff for war fighting. But we got put in these little cans. They're basically half the size. It's basically like a sea train. You know what a sea train is, right?
Yeah.
It's like one of those cut in half. And it's got like a wall unit, air conditioner, and it's got 2 racks, you know, bunk beds. And you and another guy share that. So we didn't have shit. Like, we're sitting in this little can like, fuck, this sucks. You can only beat off so many times, you know?
Right.
Like, this sucks.
Eventually you stop waiting for your cellie to fall asleep.
Yep.
You know?
Right. Like, hey, bro, sorry about this. But that's when I told my barracks roommate, I'm like, hey, man, you gotta get me my PlayStation and shit out here because we have to have something to do. You know, like, you just can't survive like this. It sucks. But my first deployment was a little more active. We did a little bit more foot patrolling. We were a little bit more active. Whereas my second deployment, I was a glorified Humvee driver, basically.
Damn.
That's all I did.
That
Dude,
sounds a little rough, dude.
I drove from like Helmand Province to like Coast Province and back to Helmand Province. Like, I did that a lot.
It's like that movie Jarhead, huh?
Yeah, I mean, Jarhead was Iraq. I never went to Iraq, but yeah, dude.
The sense of longing.
As far as the accuracy of the Marine Corps during a time of combat goes, that movie is absolutely perfect. Like, it's an accurate depiction of the ass backwards shit that we do. It's yeah, Jarhead was good, and the book is pretty good too. I know, I recommend that for your book club. Actually, I'm telling you, Jarhead, you can read that in like I don't know, like 2 days if you just get at it. It's a good book, and it's really easy to read, but the movie doesn't take too much from it. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, like, the book and the movie are both equally really, really good.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and I like that. And the fact that it was really accurate, written by a Marine who, you know, is just some knucklehead. You know, like, I'm not an author, I'm just a dumbass, and I wrote a book about it. You know?
Yeah. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, I like shit like that.
You always been a big reader?
I guess so. I like to I can't say I've always been a huge reader because there was a time in my life when I didn't read at all. But yes, I definitely do enjoy a good novel. I'm working on High Fidelity right now. I just picked it up at Bookhounds last week.
That's a great soundtrack.
It's a great film too, and the TV show as well. I've watched both, and the soundtrack.
TV show.
Dynamite. Yeah, you've seen it?
No, I haven't.
Dynamite. It's what the fuck is her name? Zoe. Lenny
the
Kravitz.
one that
Zoe
just
Kravitz.
came out.
Yeah, on
Yeah,
Hulu.
yeah.
Dynamite.
Really?
Super good. Like it's equally as good as the movie.
I never even gave it a chance.
Equally as good as the movie. It
No
really
shit.
is good. Yeah, it's good. The character development's good. I mean, she plays an identical part of Rob. She just plays Robin instead of Rob.
Which is that whole like inner workings, the previous relationships, and like
yeah, it's all great. Like it really works out well. But I just picked that book up last Friday, and I have never read it, and I'm reading it, and so far it's good. I mean, it's basically the film, you know. Like
right.
So far the film has done pretty good to follow what I've read. So
what came first?
the book, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, the film didn't get made until 01. I think it was like 2001.
John Cusack.
Yeah,
Jack Black.
one of my favorites, man. Super dope. But yeah, I like reading. I'll pick up a book if I think it's interesting, or if like an author that I really like, if he has a story that's, you know, similar or something that, you know, looks similar, I'll pick that up too, just because why not? If I like that one, I'm sure to like this one, you know. And even if I don't like it, I'll get halfway through it and still read it, just because that's how I am.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I definitely feel there's like this like a bit of a grimy feeling when I pick up a book and I haven't picked it up in years, and I realize I'm halfway through it, and you're just like,
Fuck. Yep.
I don't want to read this shit, dude. This shit was so hard to get through one half of this motherfucker, you know?
Yep. I did that. There's a couple of them I've done that with. One of them was because it just made me too emotional. It's called The Art of Racing in the Rain. It was just turned into a movie.
That's one of my favorite books.
And that book,
I've read it like 9 times.
Hard to read,
I've read it
bro.
like 9 times.
Super hard. And I put it down and haven't looked at it in a while, only because it's hard to read. You know, like it's a fantastic fucking movie, or a fantastic book, fantastic film. Really hard to read. It's just difficult to get through, dude. I'm like, oh my God, I can't even read this right now.
And it's funny because it's a story told through the eyes of a dog. And
yeah.
You're like, oh, this is me, like a fun little light book. And then it gets rough and rough and rough. You're like,
every single thing that your heart can't handle, it throws right at you, dude. It's good. It's gripping, and it makes you want to read more. And that's what I like about it.
It's a fantastic. You know? I remember I never really read, and I was working at Bolt House. And it was one of those books. You know, I think I told you about my theory about the back pocket book.
Yeah.
It's a book that lives in your back pocket. It's a book that you fucking.
Yeah.
It's like there's some books at the end of the day you read before bed, or like you dedicate time. But a back pocket book is any chance you fucking get.
Yeah.
You read a couple pages or a paragraph, or you read back. So it lives in your back pocket.
Yep.
Where you're waiting in line. So Art of Racing in the Rain is a back pocket book for sure. For me, anyways. And just being at Bolt House on my lunches while smoking a cigarette on my breaks, and just like flipping through, waiting for my battery to charge on my forklift, just like reading as much as I can, dude.
Yeah. I'll have to pick it up. I mean, I know it's good. I've watched the film since, and I know
the movie's whatever.
Yeah, and I agree with that. It's decent. But I don't know how much of the story it actually tells. But
it doesn't tell the whole story. That's for sure. Not the hard parts.
I'm all for it. There's a few others that I pick up. I'll pick up anything, dude. Like I saw one that says "You are a complete and utter disappointment," and it was written cool. From the artist. Excuse me, from the author to his dad. And about the way he feels his dad feels about him, which his dad doesn't. You find that out later, but I picked it up thinking like, fuck, man, this is how my dad feels about me, you know? And then I read the book and was like, holy fuck, this is about me. Dude, this is about me and my dad, when really it's not. It's just metaphorically, you know, like it's one of those like, oh shit, I gotta fucking call my dad, you know?
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, that's like the paradoxical like relationship, son and his dad,
Yeah.
you know? Especially the kind of the shithead son. Yeah, dude, like most of the paintings I usually paint my dad's face.
Are these yours?
Yeah, these are all mine.
Oh, dude.
And
So sick.
thanks, man.
Fuck yeah. I admired them when I walked in. I'm like, fuck, these are dope.
Thanks, man. Those up there, those aren't mine, but
Those are though.
yeah, and it's just like it's weird. Like there's just like the old story of the oldest, or not the oldest, but like the son and his father.
Yeah.
Especially when they don't get along. Like me and my dad, we hated each other.
Yeah.
When I was like in high school, when I was like using, and I was a piece of shit, and I was fucking fighting all the time, and I was like stealing money from them to get high. I'd steal their car to go party and get my dick sucked, and then and then I'd bring the car back, and the tail lights were busted, and it's just real grimy piece of shit things to do, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's funny, like now we're friends. Like my dad goes, "Hey, what's going on, man?" It's like, "Oh, I'm doing this. Hey, I was just wanted to see if you wanted to come over and maybe watch the game." And you're like, "Yeah, dude, that sounds awesome."
Yeah, my father and I are like that right now, for sure. I mean, my dad and I, we are so much alike that we just didn't get along at all. And I mean, I was kind of a shithead. I did all of the shit that they tell you not to do. You know, like I drank in high school, I did drugs in high school, I stayed out all night, I fucking had sex before marriage, all that shit, you know, like no, I honestly, I thought I'd be the first one to have kids and all that, but I wasn't. I'm the last one to have kids, motherfucker. I ain't got none of them. But yeah, my dad and I didn't always get along, and nowadays it's just like that. You know, I think him having grandchildren from my siblings, I think that mellowed him out a lot. You know, like I don't want to say he picked on me a lot, but I have two older brothers and they're my stepbrothers. So I feel like my father, being drunk, because he usually always was, wouldn't pick on them because he wasn't their dad. You know what I mean? Or he was afraid of them or whatever
they weren't really his, like you were his.
So I caught a lot of the blunt of it. You know, like I caught almost everything. If anybody got in trouble, it was always me, you know, but that's because I acted out a lot because of that. You know, like it was kind of a vicious cycle.
Vicious.
But yeah, now my dad, man, he's fucking awesome. You know, like it's great. And he'll call me up every now and again, be like, "Hey, come watch the game." But he lives way the fuck up in Lake Isabella, so
yeah,
it's a little more difficult to get there these days.
It's weird being my parents' friends.
Yeah, right.
Coming from a place where it was just like, "Fuck you," and they said, "Oh, you want to swing on me? Swing on me, motherfucker!" And it was my dad like getting in my face over like something, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, because I was like, when I was a kid, my dad, I would get in trouble. My dad would whoop me, right? And then the whoopings were like, it was different because he's like, "This hurts me more than it hurts you." It's
Yeah,
like,
I heard that a lot too.
Fucking pissed off where you're like, you see this angry face beating you. You're like, "Fuck," you know, like, and then you lash out this, and then like it's funny. People like say like, "Why are you so comfortable with being in trouble?" It's like, because that's like my normal. Being in trouble, someone being mad at you, just like this, whatever, dude.
Yep.
Like it's a totally normal thing. And they're going from that to my dad being like, "Hey, we're going to go to Pismo. Just me and your mom. You want to come with us?" And I was like, "Yeah, dude." And just going to Pismo, and like when I was drinking and go like to different breweries, and like chatting like your friends, and then it's like it's weird.
Yeah, I agree. I started to see the change in my dad. I lived in Arkansas for a bit, and my parents came out and saw me, and I was really kind of blown away by that. You know, like I lived in Washington State, and my parents never came and saw me ever. My oldest brother, or my second oldest brother, he lived in like Texas, and my parents would go out and see him, willy nilly, and it's like, what the fuck? Are you serious? I live in Washington. Come up here. It's beautiful. But I moved out to Arkansas. This is 10 years ago or so. And my parents come out and see me. I'm like, what the fuck? But it was because they came out and saw my other brother, and I was just right there. You know, like, I don't feel shafted because they did come and see me and shit, and that was great. You know, it is definitely a little bit different. Even now, you know, like seeing my parents now is awesome, but it's different. It's, you know, they're more my friends than anything. And like, I'm an adult now. You know, like I'm fucking 40 years old. I should be able to be doing this life by myself. I should be, but yeah, no, I wish I could have my dad for everything. Like, Dad, like my fucking car, I'd be like, "Hey, Pop, something's up with this. Can you help me?" "Yeah, just drive it over." But I can't do that shit anymore, you know. And my dad's getting old. He's like 62, and that's fucking old.
Yeah, my dad's 55. And
yeah,
he's definitely getting. He's not old. He's still like a young, fit guy because he's like in shape and shit. But you could definitely see it, dude. It's definitely was wearing on him.
Yeah.
He started wearing glasses like a couple years ago, and you're like, "What the fuck? Like my invincible dad's wearing glasses?"
Yeah.
It's just like these little things. Yeah, dude. It's It's definitely weird. I definitely think like if the relationship we had now is the relationship I had always, like that respectful kind of like thing, I was like, I probably wouldn't have been an addict or probably wouldn't have drank so much.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? Like, not to put the blame on my addiction and alcoholism on somebody else. It's just like
it definitely
usually
aids
that's
in
where
it.
it comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've learned that for sure. You know, like it's not only this one thing, but everything kind of thing. You know, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, identity and all that stuff. Like that's why I like with my younger siblings. Like my dad used to drink and party and all this stuff, but then he became a Jehovah's Witness like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
and I'm 10 years. I'm the oldest, and then my youngest sisters were 10 years apart.
Oh, okay.
So they got the more kind of let's talk about it. Not so much of the didn't really get hit.
Yeah.
Not work. I got hit like every day when I was a kid. It felt like every day. Maybe it wasn't every day, but it felt like every day.
My sister got in trouble. I got hit.
Yeah. Right, dude? You get hit and locked in your room.
Yeah.
You're being your room.
You're fucking grounded. Your sister's in trouble. Yeah, I feel you there. Oh, fuck.
It's weird, right? It'd be like, you might hear my little sister. She'd be like, in front of my dad. It's like, you're retarded. I'm like, whoa. Like, I'm just expecting everything to explode. And
yeah.
he just goes, whatever. You're just like, what?
I called my dad a liar one time. I don't know how old I was, but we were going to go to watch Monday Night Football at Rusty's Pizza. It was like the highlight of my week. The Raiders were playing Monday Night Football, pizza, Rusty's, video game, all this. It was like...
We were young.
Yeah, I was getting it, you know. And then on the way home, we drove right past Rusty's and drove to the house. And I was like, what the hell? I thought you said we were going to get pizza, you know? And everyone, my brothers and sister, were like, yeah, what about pizza? And he's like, I lied. And I was like, I didn't say fucking, but I was like, you always lie.
Oh.
That was a bad idea.
I remember one time I was doing my homework, and my mom, she used to work a lot. Now she's more successful. She doesn't work that much, but I was sitting at the kitchen table and she was hounding me about something, just going off, dude. In that pitch, that tone, that just gets your gears.
Oh,
going.
yeah.
Just like, I'm just sitting there, just like, under my breath, going, shut the fuck up. And she charged me, dude, in her moment. Out of my life, dude. I looked over my shoulder. I was like, I wasn't old enough to like stand up for myself.
Yeah.
But I was just still like 12 or like 11. I was just like, this is how it ends. All I did was say, shut up. and she got like 2 inches from my face. She goes, that's what I thought. And I was like, oh, fuck. Thank God.
My brother, the one that actually lived in Texas, I was mentioned earlier. So his mom married my dad. I mean, it's my mom. I call her my mom. She's my mom. But my brother, I think we were, I don't know, 13 years old or so, and he wanted one of his friends to come over after school or something, and she said no. He said, you're a fucking bitch. I've never seen anybody get slapped so hard in my life, dude. I thought she slapped him to 6th grade, bro. I was like, oh, fuck.
He looked younger after the slap.
God damn. It was the wildest thing ever, and that's what I was like, oh my God, I gotta remember to keep my shit in check. Because there was many times when I wanted to say that shit too,
right?
But I didn't. Whew.
Yeah, dude.
Dad, you can fuck me up, man, but don't let her hit me. God damn.
I remember one time, and it was like this different level, because when my dad would hit me, it was like, all right, like the rest of the day is ruined. Your fucking ass is sore. You're probably not gonna go to school tomorrow because all the bruises.
Yeah.
But like my mom, she would just hit me all the time, but it was like less in like severity.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, mom hit me, like no big deal. And
Yeah.
I remember one time I was hungover and I was like detoxing off of like opioids. I had taken like a bunch of like Oxy the night before and got drunk.
Yeah.
And I snuck back in at like 6 a.m. And my dad's waking the whole house up at 6:30. So I'm like binging, detoxing, like all this stuff. Like I fucking look like shit. I'm fucked up.
Yeah.
And my mom, she's just like, clean your room. And I was like, whatever, dude. Like I'm a cool 16-year-old. And she grabs a broom and she starts beating me with a broom. And I'm like, had enough. So I I lock eye contact with her. I grab the broom, keeping eye contact. I break it over my knee and I hand the pieces back to her. And she looks at me like, oh.
Ooh.
I'm telling your dad. And I was like, oh, fuck. And he got home and he's just like, I don't know what happened. I think it like devolved or whatever. But it was just like one of those, man. I was just like,
yeah.
I was like, I think she looked at me like, oh, this is like a grown ass fucking. Because I was like 260 pounds in the fucking. I boxed and I played football, and I was just like this fucking
a brute.
Just as like this. I wasn't on steroids, but I was just like this fucking like piece of shit. This you know, 16-year-olds are like,
oh yeah,
the most dangerous people on the planet because
oh,
they got the body of a man, but they got the mind of a child.
Yep.
It's just like
yeah, and then they don't really have a care either. You know, if they get hurt, they're not really privy to what it's actually going to do. You know, like you get hurt when you're young, like you don't give a fuck. You fall off your skateboard and bust your knee, like You do that shit when you're 30.
Yeah. I remember I was like 16. I had I was like cutting up some meat or something, and I had a meat cleaver in my hand. Oh, fuck. And I was like, I can cut off one of my fingers right now.
Easy.
And I was like, I probably should. I remember laying my finger out and like holding the blade against my finger. I was just like, oh, dude, like what's stopping me? Like, right? Pain. Like it's gonna hurt, but like, fuck it, I'll be cool. And I was about to go for it, and I was just like, nah.
That's funny, man.
It's some real psycho shit, man.
Nah, I think I've been there. I've done that before.
Yeah, right?
I mean, not necessarily the meat cleaver, but I've definitely been like,
I can totally shove my forehead in this table saw.
Yeah.
And you're like listening to that voice a little too much,
yeah.
You know?
Do it.
do it. No balls. You're a bitch.
Yeah.
This guy, no bitch.
Someone's like, dude, if you could just turn off your brain for a while and not, and stop thinking, would you ever turn it back on? Like, nope.
Hopefully I would forget how.
Yeah. What? Turn what back on? Shit, no.
Oh, that's man. So lately, how you been? You've been doing all right?
Yeah. I mean, the last month or so, it's been kind of weird.
Have you had any episodes?
No, I've been pretty good. Actually, I'm kind of leveled out. I take a couple medications, depression, all that shit, but it's really weird finding the right combination of what kind of shit works with you and what makes you feel good, what doesn't. I've talked with my doctor quite a bit about it, and there was one I took. I don't remember if it was Zoloft or if it was, I don't remember what other antidepressant it was, but the side effects were terrible, dude. I wouldn't feel good. I wouldn't feel bad. I just wouldn't feel normal. Like there was nothing to keep me just wanting to be normal. So that sucked, but now I'm pretty leveled off. I'm doing okay, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've got a job. I've got a place to live. I got my dog still alive. I'm good,
Yeah. Dude, those episodes, man, they're rough. I don't know about you, but like, I was having a bad episode, like fucking, like 2 weeks ago. Just like real depressed. I just got laid off, but it was like I was gonna put my 2 weeks notice in anyway. But still, like, it's just the rejection that fucking.
I think that's it.
It's the rejection. I was like, "Fuck, what is this, dude?" And I couldn't wash a dish. I'd shower every couple days. It was only because I was leaving the house for something. I was just like, "Fuck, dude, I need to get out of this."
Yeah, and I feel that. There are times, and that's what I mean. Like the last month, I think I might have. I don't know how to call it an episode so much, but I guess you're right. It is, an episode. It's what it is. But yeah, there will be times, and I'll be that way too. I'll just have zero motivation, and it won't be just like not go to work or not do this or not do that. It's just zero motivation for anything. I'll get out of bed. I won't make my bed. I make bed every day. Every single day. That's like. I don't remember who it was that said there's a word of advice, like the first thing you should do is make your bed.
Yeah.
Because you've accomplished something. You know what I mean? Like
right.
automatically. If
you've had a bad day, you've at least made your bed.
Yeah, you've done something good today. So I do that. And then there'll be times when I'm just like, whatever. I'm not going to do that today. And
yeah,
just kind of be like, meh.
I started doing this thing where I got a little coffee maker,
and
you got to like wash it, and you got to pour the grounds in the little thing because it's a single cup thing.
Sure.
And it's the act of waking up,
and
it's like I got to tell myself to do it.
Yeah.
I wake up and then make myself a coffee, and then it's just like the first step to like having a productive day.
Yeah. That's good.
And then also like for me, it's like I don't turn the TV on until nighttime. like until the sun goes down. I don't turn. I just can't, because if I do, dude,
I'm just gonna get zoned out in it.
I get zoned out, and at the end of the day, I feel like shit because I didn't do fucking nothing all day, and it's just like this weight in my stomach, dude.
That's actually something I should take heed of, because I'm guilty of that. Like on my days off, a lot of the time, if it's just like a chill day off, I don't, like I get 2 days off a week, so one of them I will inevitably just relax, But I think when I do that, like I'll wake and bake, and then I'll go sit in the living room and watch fucking, the news, or watch Punky fucking Brewster, or whatever I decide to want to watch. And yeah, I just get stuck on it, dude. Like I watched Saved by the Bell, the college years, watched every episode of the one season within the last 2 days. And that's why, because I got up and just, let's watch TV.
Do you get that bad feeling?
Definitely.
I get that. Oh,
by the end of the day, you're like, fuck, it's already 4 p.m. I didn't do shit today.
And you just fuck. It's like a sinking feeling. You're like, fuck, I'm a piece of shit. Like, what am I doing? Like, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
That's how my brain speaks to me.
Yeah.
Like, if I do that all day. I had a buddy who was, he was staying here over the summer. He struggled with fentanyl and heroin for years and meth. And he was talking about getting clean and this and that. And he's like, I'm going to get my life together. I just need a place to stay for a month.
Yeah.
And he stayed here. And on his days off, I would leave to work.
It's dogs across the street. I can see them through the window.
I would get up from work at 6:30. He would be on the couch watching TV, Shameless, which is that fucking show I hate.
Yeah.
And then I would come back from work 8 hours later, and he was in the same spot, and he hadn't moved. Like, dude, what are you doing, bro?
Yeah.
You can't do this. And he goes, what do you mean? Just let me do what I want. It's like, you're talking about getting clean, man. You're talking about all these things you're struggling with. That has a big part to do with it, man.
Definitely.
It's like, that doesn't help, bro. It doesn't help at all.
No, and that's true. I had a buddy that was similar to that. He was kind of in a bad way, and he stayed at my house a few days. I mean, he ended up staying about a month, but it became that where it was like, hey, bro, like, I don't care that you stay here, but you can't just sit there on the couch all day.
Yeah, I can't be supportive of this terrible behavior, this corrosive behavior, dude.
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, those. Yeah, I haven't really had a bad episode in a while.
Yeah, that's good.
If I stay on top of things.
Yeah, and that's kind of how it is with me. Like, I'll miss my med. With me, I'm almost certain that they give me a sugar pill or two a week anyway. Like, I don't think I'm supposed to have the same medication all 7 days of the week because it will fuck me up. But I know that 2 of them are sugar pills, and I think I figured out which days they are. So, I don't have episodes as much, but some days I'll miss them. Like if I miss my medication, or if I forget it and stay somewhere else, or if anything like that happens, and I can kind of feel it, but usually the level of the Wellbutrin that's in my system, or whatever that's in my system, the level that I have is usually pretty good. Like I don't ever sink below it any longer until I just stop taking the shit altogether. Mm-hmm. And that's.
Do you ever get like suicidal?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I get so suicidal to where I'm actually creating a plan for my life. Mm-hmm. However, it definitely does run through my mind. I mean, that's something that I've struggled with for years and years and years and years, and still, I mean, to this very day, like if something bad happens to me, it's almost one of those like, fuck, it might as well just not even be here kind of thing.
Escape plan, yeah.
And it sucks because it is one of those like, oh, it's just an escape plan. I'm only telling myself this because it's the worst possible thing, and I know I can recover from it, or whatever it is. I'm telling myself that, but
and it's almost nice to be like, I can always kill myself.
Yeah, it's an easy way out.
Yeah,
I hate it. I really, really do. My grandfather, he took his own life. I have an old roommate who's also a Marine Corps veteran, took his own life. I've known a couple people to do it, and it really sucks. It's like I can say so many terrible things about it, but still, it crosses my mind. You know what I mean? Like I'm not the type of person to think that suicide is so awful. I guess without a lack of a term, like sometimes suicide can be beautiful. Like I live my life on my own terms. If I ended up taking my own life, it could be beautiful to me because I don't want it to keep going. Like I don't want to. I don't know. It's weird to think that it could be a beautiful thing, but to me it is. Like sometimes it's artwork. Sometimes it's whatever. Like think about what's the name of the fucking dude? Darby Crash, the singer of the Germs. I mean, he OD'd on heroin, but it was supposed to be him and Lorna Doone, but it wasn't supposed to be because he wanted to fucking die. It was a work of art. You know what I mean? Like, it was a suicide pact. It was a beautiful thing to him. It wasn't, oh, I just want to die because I fucking hate my life, which he might have. But that's kind of how I always looked at it. You know, like, I'm also looking at it from a narcissistic point of view. You know, like, who would fucking care? You know, like, I can imagine my family would care. I can imagine that, you know, you would possibly care. Mm-hmm. I can imagine that other people would care, but who? I'm so into the fact of knowing who. You know, like, who would care? Like, nobody really gives a fuck. You know, like, that's what sucks.
Yeah, that's a rough one, man. And it's also like that thing where I remember I had that same conversation with myself. I was like, yeah, but if I killed myself, dude, my mom would never get over it, or my dad. And it's like, damn, am I really living to keep these people from not being unhappy?
Yeah.
It's like, fuck. Like, where's the answer? And it's just like, really, these circles in your head. You're like, where's the fucking answer? Is there even an answer?
I have yet to find one, man.
And it's just like, fuck, man. And it's just like this never ending thing.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I do that same shit all the time. You know, like, what the fuck do I care about how they feel about what I'm going to do when it's me that fucking hurts? You know, when do my feelings get to come into this? You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the things I struggle really, really heavily with. Is because I've actually checked into the mental health hospital. It's been 2 years. I was February of 2020, right before the whole pandemic happened. Even I was in a bad way. Like, I was really, really, really in a bad way. And I knew I needed help. If I didn't get help of some sort, I wasn't going to seek it, and I was just going to end my life. I didn't know that I wanted to do that at the time. So I went to the mental health hospital. I was there for 14 days. That's all they'd keep me because I wasn't an admit from the hospital. I went by myself. But you hear from everybody, you know, don't do this. Your dad's going to be so upset. What are your sister going to, how are you going to feel? Why do I have to worry about what they feel right now? Why can't I worry about how I fucking feel?
Yeah.
You know,
that's
like,
really what the fuck's going on is you're feeling fucking hardcore.
Yeah. And then when you tell me that someone else is going to feel like shit because I feel like shit, it's going to make me feel worse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Suicide is not the way out, but fuck, man, you can't fucking be pissed off at people because they do it. You can't. It's not fair to do that. You know, people have issues. Like, if you struggle with mental health issues like that, it's almost impossible to find the help that you actually need. You know, like, I've noticed that. I've talked with so many fucking people, and so many people have come to my aid. I called the suicide hotline, and you know what they told me? Don't do that. Your life is so much better than that. Someone cares about you. And it's like, do you fucking care about me?
The suicide hotline's a fucking joke.
Like, I'm all for you, and I appreciate you doing what you do because I am calling you as a fucking sign of help. But you have to have more bedside manner than that, man. You can't just be like, oh, you know, yeah.
Don't do it. Stop.
Yeah.
No. Do a flip.
So it's really, really hard, you know, like, and that's where I struggle with it is all fucking, and I'll get in such a mood where I'll feel like straight up dog dick, and then I'll listen to shit on the radio or listen to my music, and it'll be like, fuck, now I even feel worse. You know, like, fuck, I'll listen, like, there's a Ramones song that I like. It's called I Wanna Live. And the song is about suicide. That's what the song is about. And if I'm ever feeling like that, that's the first song I put on. I'll put it on and I'll be like, fuck, I should fucking do this. Why the fuck am I even here? I should fucking do this. You know, like, it gets you, I don't know if it gets you amped to where it, but that's what it is for me. Like, I want it to be, I mean, I want to be in that feeling. Like, I want to know how that feels. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care the way my dad's going to feel about this. I want to know, I want my feelings to matter about it, you know? So I'm glad I haven't taken the axe to my own neck yet, but am I guaranteed it's not going to happen? No, I don't. You know, I'm not sure. I go through shit like that, you know, and I've often even thought about it like, oh, I'm fucking 40 years old, dude. 40-year-olds don't kill themselves when, fuck, sure they do. You know, like, it happens all the time.
People in their fucking 60s and 70s are fucking in that shit, man.
Yeah, and I get it. You know, like, I get it. So I'm a big advocate for the mental health, you know, aid of anybody, veterans, anybody. I just know that it's really difficult to get the help you need. You know, like,
it's
it
difficult
really is.
to, like, let yourself help yourself, dude.
It's hard to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I find that's the biggest issue, I think, is the vulnerability issue. You know, like, opening up to somebody that you don't know, you know, being like, hey, look, you know, I feel this way. And it sucks. You're like, how do you help me? And that's where it is. I think people just get really self-reluctant to do that. And then they don't, you know, and that's where the struggle is. It's hard to find, I don't know, it's hard to find acceptance with the way you feel about that. And it's hard to find help. You know, people don't understand if they don't understand. Like, I'm not going to go to my fucking Catholic priest and be like, hey man, I want to kill myself. What are you going to do for me? Because he's never felt that way a day in his life. You know, like, he doesn't feel that way. Whereas if I knew you felt that way and I came to you and was like, hey bro, you've had this feeling before, talk with me. You know, like, that's just going to be better for me. Is it going to be exactly what I need? No, but it's going to be better than finding someone that doesn't fucking care, you know?
Yeah, I remember the best feeling I've ever felt in my life was after I had consciously made the decision to kill myself, and then that night, I decided not to go through with it.
Yeah.
Fuck the peace, man. The bliss I felt in class. I was in class, and I was like, well, there's a peace that comes when you, like, decide to kill yourself.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
There's, like, this great peace, and you're like, oh, like, all right, like, this decision has been made. This feels good. Like, all right, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And it's just like almost like it's like a bliss. And then I was like, all right, this isn't great. But I had called the school because I had a counselor at BC, the therapist that I was seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, you know, like, I need some help. I need to talk to my therapist. And she's like, well, I can make you an appointment for 3 weeks. And I was like, I didn't say this. I was like, I'm gonna be fucking dead in 3 weeks. So I started laughing. I was like, well, thanks for the help anyway. And she's like, but if you have an emergency, you can call the suicide prevention hotline.
Yeah.
And I was like, why would I call the hotline? They're gonna lock me up for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And that's right. I was like, I can't get locked up for 2 weeks. I was in the middle of a show. I was in the middle of a play, and I was like, oh fuck. Then it dawned on me. I was like, oh, I got the play, dude. I can't let all these guys down.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, this and that. And I started, like, working my way back from the bottom, step by step, like, kind of like, whenever I'd have a bad thought, I'll crush it and distract that thought with a happier thought. And I was just like this. It took like 5 hours. I was at work at my desk sitting alone. And by the end of the day, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to class.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in class, dude. And I was like, this fucking class, I was failing. It was pre-calculus. And every goofy motherfucker that walked in the door, dude, I gave him a hug and I kissed him on the cheek, dude. I was just like, what's up, man? I gotta tell you got the freshest style, man. You always wear the sickest shoes. And it was like some quiet kid that didn't speak to nobody. Yeah. And I was just like basically like jerking everybody off that came to the door because that felt so good.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people is like, I know you don't have anything to live for, but there is going to be this moment that comes right after the suicide that is amazing, man. And it's almost just enough to live for.
Yeah, see, and that's great. That's a great revelation to have. You know, like, I'm glad you told me that, because that's something for me to look forward to too. You know, like I went to school at BC, and while I was there, I was the president of the Veterans Club on campus, and you get to meet. I mean, I took it upon myself to meet everybody that came into the, you know, Veterans Lounge or that was associated with the veterans anywhere on campus. I wanted to make sure that they knew who I was. If they needed something, they could come to me, whatever. But we had a student, and he took his own life. He was an Army veteran. And it was one of those, like, damn, dude. Damn. What could we have done any differently, you know? And I look back on all of the stuff about this kid and all the stuff that I remember about him. And it's like, damn, dude, I don't think anyone ever went out of our way just to make his day. You know, no one even said, dude, how are you doing today? You know, like, nobody did that. Nobody did that for this guy. So when you said, like, you'd tell the dude that no one ever talked to, like, you'd be like, dude, looking great today. You know, like, even if it seems like you might be mocking him, to others, you're not. You know, that little thing, because you weren't mocking him, you were genuinely giving me, you know, a compliment. But that could be the one thing, you know. So that's something that I look forward to. Like, I mean, I look at with great bliss, I guess. You know, like, that's something I afford to a lot of people, because I have a lot of friends that are in the same boat, you know, mentally, and they're just like, dude, this fucking sucks. This air we breathe is shitty. I want out, you know, like, I want a fucking refund. And it sucks to be that, because I hate being a hypocrite and being like, dude, don't do that. And I don't. I'm just like, hey, man, I know what you're feeling. I know exactly how you feel, dude. But picture this. You know, like, think about this for a second.
Yeah.
And I wish I could do that for myself, because in a time of need, I'm not going to be able to do that for myself. But I'm hoping that someone out there will, you know? Like, it's hard for me to talk to my sister about it, because, of course, my sister's going to get emotional, and she loves me, and don't do this, you're my brother, blah, 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 blah. But I don't need that. You know, that's only going to make me want to do it more. I need somebody to tell me, like, don't do this because of this. You know, look at what you can do here, you know? Lately, it's been my dog. Like, I've got a dog. I can't let that dog go. I love that dog more than I love my own self. You know?
It makes the most sense. Yeah.
Like, I can't let this dog go without me. You know, when she goes, I might go with her. But I don't know when that's going to be. So I don't think about it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to die with my dog, but I'm going to be such a fucking disaster that I don't know how I'm going to recover from that. You know, and that's where it lies with me right now. Like, I'm mentally stable, great. I'm doing really well. When I have to put that dog down, it's going to fucking destroy me. It's going to be bad. I hope she just dies in her sleep next to me, you know, selfish, but I hope that's how she goes.
Is she older?
Yeah, she's 14. She'll be 15 in May. So, and she's a little dog, so she's lived a great little life. She's a little 3-legged miniature pincher. But that's one of the reasons I stay here. You know, like, I love my sister. I love my mom and dad. I love my brothers. I love everyone in my family. I love all my friends. But is there happiness enough to keep me here? You know what I mean? Like, is that something I'm staying for? Am I staying for them, or am I staying for me? You know, like, it's got to be for me if that's the term I'm living on. So we'll see. This is not a suicide note.
It's funny you mentioned, like, you can't help yourself when you're low, but you can when you're high. You want to help others. I think it's like a suicide network. It's people that feel the same way, that know how you feel. Those are the only people that can help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to. It's suicidal people can only help suicidal people.
Agreed.
And it's like when you're at your highs, you want to help people at your lows. So you just got to be counting that when you're on your low, that you can count on yourself enough just to reach out to somebody that's on a high.
Yeah. And
if you reach somebody that's on a high, because you know people that are suicidal and they suffer with these things. They're the most loving. They're the most genuine. They're the biggest, hearted people. And those are the people that will stop the world
Absolutely.
in order to help you get back to your high.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the only people you can really... I mean, family, they love you. All this stuff.
But that's a bias.
That's bias, yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, and I agree with that. I think that you hit the nail right on the head there. You know, like, there's times when I care about other people way more than I care about me, when I really do need to start thinking about myself sometimes too. But I think that just comes with being somewhat empathetic. You know, like, I'm not hyper empathetic or anything like that, which that's not terrible. You know, it's a great quality, I think. But I do have empathy for people. You know, so it is one of those, like, I genuinely want people to be okay.
Yeah,
you know?
And there's always that saying that selfish people commit suicide. It's like, no, dude,
that's not true.
Seeing it. The people that do take their own lives, dude, they're the most beautiful people.
Yeah,
they're stunning. That's why you never hear about some asshole that nobody give a fuck about kill himself.
Right?
No, that's not.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen's not going to kill himself.
Charlie Sheen's not going to. Donald Trump's not going to kill himself.
Fuck no. You'd miss his comedy special. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, but it's the guys like Robin Williams. It's the guys like
Chris Cornell.
Kurt Cornell, dude. It's the big people that had these huge hearts.
Yeah. That
view it, and it's almost like that thing where you view the world in such a beautiful way, and you get disappointed time and time again about how fucking shitty the world is.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't live up to your expectations, and you're just like, why do I want to partake in this ugliness that's constantly going on, and I'm not influencing it at all. I'm just like bathing in the bathwater of disgust.
Yeah, I hear that. I feel that, actually. That's for sure. Yeah, Robin Williams was a big one for me. Actually, because when he took his own life was about the time when I was really, really hitting it hard. You know, like, it was really, really bad on me. And he's always been kind of, I wouldn't say he's like my favorite actor, but dude, it's Robin Williams. Like, you have to love this guy, right? If you ask somebody if they didn't like Robin Williams, punch them in the mouth.
They're a fucking liar.
Straight up,
Like your
what?
dad.
You're wrong. But it was really big because, yeah, you do think about that. You're like, man, this guy fucking spent his entire life making everybody that he touched or anyone that he was around feel like gold when he was over here doing this the whole time.
Yeah.
When he was suffering so hard. So I appreciate you saying that, dude. So anyone that hears this can actually understand that, like, suicide is selfish. The act is completely selfish, sure, because you're taking your pain away. You're getting rid of any pain that you have. But is that really that selfish? I mean, is it really that selfish to not want to be in pain? I don't think so. And then, you know, like, the people that do it aren't selfish. You know, like, I care about people enough to not have to give my pain to someone else, even though you are in pain now. You know, like, I've never understood the stigma of it. And that's why I say, like, you can't really be upset with somebody that does this. You can be upset and sad to your core, but you can't fucking be pissed off at them. You know, like, this whole fucking place sucks. Like, this place sucks. We all know that, but we all have to live here. So, yeah.
And it's also that thing that kind of rings true with me. It's like they're so unselfish that if you gave them the opportunity, that if they would sacrifice their life for anyone or anything, they would do it in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, it's a win-win scenario.
Yeah.
You get to help somebody, you get to do the right thing, and you get to die.
Right. Triple whammy, man.
Triple whammy. It seems like an absolute win, you know?
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that's, I agree with that. For sure. I've never thought of myself as, I use myself as an example because I definitely do and have felt this way for a long, long time, but I don't consider myself selfish. You know, like, there are times, I mean, I would absolutely die for any one of my family members, you know, and at any point in time. Like, I value their lives. I value mine, but not more than theirs. You know, like, if it was to be between me and my sister, I'm going to choose me. My sister's got kids, you know, she's got a husband. I don't have shit.
Yeah.
Like, I have nothing. I've got a fucking car and a dog. You know, like, my dog, she can adapt without me. It's going to suck, but she can. You know, like, kids, you can't. Like, that's just too tough, you know? So, yeah, I'm with that. I'm not selfish enough. I would lay down any day of the week for anyone that I loved, you know? I appreciate that you say that because people don't see that shit, you know? Like, they're just like, oh, this fucking asshole. What an asshole. It's so selfish. Well,
it's like, nah, dude. Like, people that commit suicide, bro. It's never the first option or the third or the fourth or the fifth. It's the 10,274th option.
Yeah. And
they work through all of them. And granted, they go through all 10,000 options in the first 4 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, and that does happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I agree that it's somewhat of a process too, because I mean, I've been thinking about this shit since I was, 14 years old. Like, really, my dad and I's relationship was a really big strain on me. You know, it put a lot of mental health issues in me, not to mention my biological mother. I mean, she was never around. I didn't have my bio mom until I was like 16 years old. And then she moved away from me then, so I didn't really have her. It was a disconnect there. And it brought a lot of childhood trauma. That I didn't even realize I understood until I was older. It took me talking to a counselor, and she's like, look, man, this fucked you up. Like, it's clear that you had some issues there, but are abandonment issues the reason? I don't know.
Yeah, therapy is a wild place, man. You're just like, I'm totally normal like everybody else. And then you like go to therapy just on a whim. And then you're like, or because you're like really fucked up and you're like, really can't figure it out, and you're trying all these things, it's not working, and then you go and you're like, yeah, I don't get it, I don't know why I'm fucked up, like, I had a normal childhood. It's like, you did? It's like, you just told me that you were diddled by girls when you were a kid, and I was like, yeah, but that was a cool experience, I was a sexually active fucking 9-year-old or 5-year-old.
Yeah.
She's like, nope, that fucked you up, son.
Yeah.
And that's why you struggle with all these things that you were telling me. And just like, I was like 21 or 22, 23, and I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I was like, everybody goes through this shit. My story's not that bad. She goes, no, your story's bad because it's your story.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't compare your story to other people, man. It's like, your story, the worst thing that ever happened to you is equivalent to the worst thing that ever happened to somebody else. It's still the worst thing that ever happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we all do, we all experience the same type of thing, like emotional. It's just what we experience is different. Absolutely, I agree with that. And that's the same. Yeah, like even if you don't think that it's that bad, like if you're like, oh man, that couldn't have been a big issue. Fuck.
Yeah,
it really is. Holy shit. And yeah, therapy was definitely a wild one. And it helped me out a lot. I learned a lot. I mean, that's where I learned how to actually have a conversation with people, like I learned the difference in the word try and might and, like all that shit. Like if someone's talking to me, like, oh yeah, I'll try to do that. Well, then I automatically think you ain't doing shit.
Yeah, dude, right?
You're not going to do anything.
Like I was on the phone with this guy and I was just like, yeah, I mean, I'll try to make it there Tuesday. And he was just like, huh? I was like, my bad. I'm going to make it there Tuesday. He goes, cool, thank you. I was like, fuck, dude. Like it takes someone telling me, catching me, even though I know it to be true. The try, the can, and maybe, and I should. It's like, no, dude. It's will
or will
going
not.
to. I'll see you there.
Yeah, and I got real bad about that. And that's really just the way you converse with people. And it took me a lot. I had to reformat basically like my vernacular in a sense because I did that a lot. I would, oh yeah, I'll try to do that. I'm going to try to get this done. I'm going to try to get this done. And it's like, fuck, man, I'm either overwhelming myself or I'm just lying to myself,
right.
And it's like if you're moving, like if you were moving to, a place across town, 3 friends that had trucks and you messaged all 3 of them and 2 of them were like, I'm not going to make it, man. I'm sorry. I got something going on. And your third friend's like, yeah, dude, I'll try and be there. Cool. What time? Cool. And you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I got a truck. And then, 11 a.m. rolls around, your buddy doesn't show up and be like, hey, where you at? Oh yeah, dude, I tried, but I had this. Oh, yeah. It's disappointing, but if you just take all that out, like it doesn't mean shit. If your buddy says, yeah, I'm going to try to be there, just chalk it up as a no, like,
and it's also like this, like fear of rejection. So when I say it, I'm afraid that if I say no, they'll be upset with me.
Yeah. I mean, and they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It should be, if they're your friend, especially in a situation like that, be like, no, man, I can't help you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hey, dude, I can't. But I'll try because you don't want to say no because you don't want them to feel bad. And it's like, and and it's like now when people say that to me, I gotta look at it like, okay, he probably can't.
Yep.
He might be able to. There might be a situation where he might be able to work things out, but he's unsure. He just likes me too much to just say no, dude, I can't.
And that's the case with a lot of, I mean, that's really the case with a lot of it, especially with your friends and loved ones, like, and I deal with that too. Like, I know you really want to say no, like, I know you really want to say no. You're saying try so you can leave yourself an option, to say, and that's right. I don't want to look like an asshole. I don't want to make you feel bad. That's it. But yeah, I've gotten to the point where I'd much rather you just tell me no. Like if you can't give me a ride, don't give me a ride.
And it's easier to say like no to your siblings. Yeah. Like, hey, can you come over? Fuck no.
Yeah. I mean, I respect it if you just tell me the truth, like if you went skydiving, someone's like, man, you ever been skydiving? I'd be like, yeah, man, I tried that. Or you'd be like, fuck yeah, I did that. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to say you tried it. It's just that's not how it goes, so I've done that. And when someone tells me like, oh man, you always do this or you never do that, I'm like, oh really? I never do this. Okay. Like speaking in extremes, it's all really about communication. And I learned a lot about that going to therapy and a lot about myself. I mean, it was insane when I learned how to talk to somebody, how much more I respected the conversations I had, like I wouldn't let somebody talk to me in a way that I wouldn't talk to them, like, wait, what'd you say? Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Like straight up. I will correct you like a motherfucker. Like I had a buddy, he's like, oh, hey, try not to use those glasses right there. Those are like special glasses. I said, okay, try. I mean, I grabbed it and filled it up with water. And he's like, dude, I said not to use those. And I was like, no. You said to try not to. I just didn't try to reach for another glass.
Just say, hey, can you not use those, please?
I tried to open the cabinet door with my mind. It didn't work, so.
I'm using your mom's fucking ashtray glass or whatever.
Yeah, so that's all. I'll be like, next time, just tell me don't use those. Like that's what you said the second time. You should have just said that the first time. I wouldn't.
That's how you felt. You really need to work on.
Fuck you, dude. I can't use this Tupperware. I've been around. I just wanted some fucking water, bro.
Right? Yeah, dude. And it's also like I'm like working on this like journey with honesty, in all forms, in terms of like honesty with my thoughts, honesty with my words, honesty with reactions, honesty with my stories.
Yeah.
Like I had this huge problem. I would just lie and make up a story just because.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why I did it. It was because I wanted people to like me. It was that acceptance. I'm gonna tell a cool story. You'll think I'm cool. And it was just like this whole long thing. It breaks down being a kid, and then like telling a lie, and then people get a reaction. Next thing you know, you get really good at telling fibular stories.
Yeah.
And it's just like this thing I'm working on now is learning how to be honest at least 80% of the time.
Yeah, and I respect that. I don't think that complete honesty is always the best option. Like, I'm not saying, like, go and lie about, anything. I'm just, complete honesty isn't always the... Hey, does this make me look fat? Yeah, it sure does. I mean, that's a touchy subject. That's a really, really fine line to walk. But yeah, I agree with that. 80% of the time, and that way that the majority of the time you're not just out here,
being, because if you're dishonest with others, do you really just dishonest with yourself?
I mean, I've got a lot of, I can't say I've got a lot of friends. I have a friend, an acquaintance. She is a straight up liar. Like, she lies so often that she believes the shit that she's saying. And that's when it comes, that's when it becomes a problem with me. Like, if you're going to tell a little white lie here, that's fine. If you're going to tell a fib or, like a joke around about a tattoo that you have that you don't have, whatever. All right. That shit doesn't hurt anybody. But when you're telling a story and it really is just a lie and you carry that story for years and years and years and years, that's bad. Like that's not good. That makes me feel that anything you say is just a lie, which it is.
I was that same way.
Yeah. And that happens. It definitely does happen.
Yeah. And it's terrifying being confronted with your lies.
Yeah.
And you're just like, why am I fucking... And someone confronts you about your lie, but also like confronting yourself, like, why did I fucking do that? Now I'm in a hole. Yeah. Now I'm in a hole with a lie for some fucking dumb reason. And then now it's just like, we talking like, hey man, sorry to interrupt you. Can I talk to you? You remind me to talk to you later. She's like, all right, cool. And you later you go, hey man, I lied, dude. I don't know why I lied, and I want to work on my lying. It's almost like a form of like addiction. Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry I lied, dude, and I'm working on it.
It is. I mean, I would definitely chalk it up to a form of addiction. You get a thrill out of it. Like there's definitely some sort of edginess to it. Like I get that. I completely get that. So yeah, I mean, it could be an addiction. And with this person that I'm talking about, I mean, like I said, she like lives out these bizarre lies, dude. It's one of those like she takes, I don't want to say too much about her because I don't really want to, I'm not bad mouthing her by any means. She does these computer coding or computer programming classes online. And she's telling me, oh yeah, I'm a master's degree student at Purdue University and blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, where did you get your bachelor's degree? Like, where is that at? Like, I want to see that, well, I don't have that because I'm getting my master's at Purdue. I mean, I didn't think you could get a master's degree with complete online classes, but maybe, I don't know, I've never looked into it enough to actually decide whether that was a lie or not. Like I know she doesn't have a bachelor's degree. You can't get a master's degree without a bachelor's degree, but somehow,
It's that logic's just a little gone.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, like I already know you're lying about it, so I don't really let it affect me too much. It's just one of those like, damn, dude, why would you continue to tell me this lie? Mm-hmm. Like why? It sucks.
Yeah. And it's really just like that fucking, like we're talking about the fucking, not spiral, but like this
a vicious circle, dude.
A vicious circle, dude.
It is
like you fucking lie, you feel bad, and to make yourself feel better, you lie again.
Yep.
And then it's like with the alcohol, I guess it is pretty close to addiction.
Yeah, I mean, anything that'll give you the thrill or give you that, like, the rush, really, that's, yeah. You can, I mean, you think about it, you can be addicted to sex. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, sexual addiction is a real thing.
Food.
Yeah, you can be addicted to food. And that's Not because you just love food. It's because you're fucking addicted to food. You know, like, it's, yeah. I mean, anything that gives you that feeling can absolutely do that.
I was definitely addicted to food once. When I was in rehab, I was in rehab in Santa Clarita, Action Rehabilitation, and they had the farm, and then the one across the street was the adult one because I was 16.
Yeah.
And so the kid one was only a 30-day program, but they had a professional chef at the adult one, and he'd bring over trays of food.
Yeah.
And so it was only like 5 or 6 of us. We had this tray of food, and I had been sober, and I really wasn't really struggling to sleep or anything like that, or wasn't really having any problems. Like everybody else was having like lash outs and this and that. But when I would eat, I would fill up the plate and I would have it up to my mouth and
just shoveling
it, and like I wouldn't even breathe. I wouldn't even slow down to breathe.
Yeah.
And then one of the counselors goes, "Hey, dude, what the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You're eating like 4 plates. You're turning red because you're not even breathing."
Yeah.
I was like, "Dude, you're getting a high from this." I was like, "This is a problem." I was like, "Oh fuck, I didn't even realize it." I was like, and if I hadn't caught up, I'd be like fucking 800 pounds today, or just dead.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, addiction is real, dude. Like, it's a real thing. It sucks to say it's a disease because I was one point in time and I'm like, fuck no. Nope, it's real.
I would even go so far to say it's not a substance; it's a personality trait.
And it could be, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's not far fetched at all. That's for sure.
Yeah, because if it's alcoholism or drugs, it'll switch, it'll move. It's the personality latching to something. It's not necessarily the substance. It's like they say marijuana is a gateway drug.
Yeah.
It's like, no, dude, millions of people smoke marijuana. They don't all and eventually suck dick for meth.
Right. Yeah, and I think you're right. I mean, I know a lot of people that have, like, someone I know quit drinking, but picked up a different habit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, he's replacing one with the other. So, yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be the substance itself, but, yeah, just that action or the feeling, you know. Yeah, agreed. For sure.
Yeah, man. Well, we're at 2.5 hours.
Damn.
Yeah, right. Man.
I didn't look at my watch or my phone. I'm like, man.
I know you got somewhere you got to be this afternoon. But I think this was amazing. I think this was an amazing podcast episode.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy you had me on, man, for sure.
Yeah, man.
If I may I say something to people who might be listening?
Absolutely.
So if you guys are listening and you have a Facebook account, go into the search bar, look up my bobblehead company. It's called Backyard Baubles. The tag is like at BYB661. Just search it in the search bar, look at it, like my page, share it if you like. That'd be great. It would help for exposure. Someone actually messaged me right now about bobblehead.
Oh, that's cool, man.
It really just, you can look at some of the work that I do. It really, 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 really would help. It's not a whole lot of money in my pocket that's extra, but with this trip to Edmonton in April, I really, really, really want to get a little bit of extra cash in there. So, yeah, give it a like if you guys need anything bobblehead wise.
I'll put the link in the description for the video. So the link will be in the description. You can go check it out.
Yeah, I can hardly wait to share this video so all my 6 followers see it.
Well, hey man, it's exposure for me too.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get as many people as I can. I'm gonna share it on my Facebook and on my Twitter and shit. So everyone that knows me will see it, and I know that some people will listen to it for sure.
Sure, man. Hopefully they could become subscribers.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll make sure that happens for sure.
Yeah, man. With that being said, my name's Javier, and
my name's Rich.
And I do these things, and we'll finish on this. Usually, I end it off one question, and it's because of God forbid something were to happen. What's like a message that you would like to be heard in your own words? What's something you like to say? And the reason I do this is a friend of mine. She was on the podcast. She showed me audios of her and her dad goofing off when she was a kid. He died a couple of years ago, and it's something that she listens to and fucking really brings a lot of light to her life. And so if there's something that you would like to be said or like to be heard from your own voice, you know, feel free. Mic's open and it's yours.
One thing I can say, just for anybody that wants to listen, take this to heart. Be a person that makes a nobody feel like a somebody. Really. Like, make somebody's day. Doesn't have to be monetarily, doesn't have to be in any certain way that you don't want it to be. Just be somebody that makes a nobody somebody.
Well said. And with that being said, man, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. I'll have you on 1,000 times, dude.
Fucking, I'm totally down.
This is Javier, and this was the I'm Not Emotional podcast. Thank you for tuning in. I love you, and I'll see you next time.